Yes, people, welcome back to Chelsea Perspective. Welcome back to another Blue Morning show on the Chelsea Perspective. It's been a rough few days for us, but we're back again. Hopefully, everything is stable. Hopefully, the internet stays stable. If not, we're going to change the service. But that's by the way. I hope you're all doing well. We're getting started immediately. We don't have time to waste. We have lineup, building exercise plan, plus a few topics to talk about. I know in the middle of the whole thing, some people will bring up some topic, and we get to talk about it. But sit back, relax, and let's get into the show. Yes, thank you so much, people, for finding the time to join the show this morning. And I want to say quickly to my bro, Liam Lane, if you're watching, just know I haven't forgotten about you. I hope you're recovering really quick. Please get better as soon as possible. And that's, by the way, my brother, Rahayu, aka 343 Dilemma. I hope you're doing well, bro. Thank you so much for finding the time to join the show. Let's go, he says. And then I have OVA Joy. Hello to to everyone up Chelsea. Yes, of course, up Chelsea. I hope you're doing well at OVA. I have a friend actually whose name first name is OVA, a very good friend. Unfortunately, I haven't reached out to him for a while. But that's why. By the way, he's from River State, I think. Yep. I hope you're all doing well, and thank you once again for finding the time to join the show. Let's get into it and start talking about the topics immediately. Some topics here. Let's start from here. Brighton's published account showed Chelsea paid 21.5 million for Graham Potter, uh, though thought to be a world record compensation fee for manager. Specifically, they're talking about Graham Potter. To me, that is nothing actually to be discussed. We heard before it was 20. Even if it turns out that it was 22, it's nothing new. It's nothing new. It's just the fact that it's an interesting topic. It's a very magnetic to the web surface, or you could say to the Chelsea faithful. They click anything with regards to that. I think that's you could argue that's the reason why they went back to talking about it again. Because to me, it's in the past. Yeah, we knew before time. We've heard that before that they pay something to that within that region. So why are we shocked? So I don't know why they're making it a serious topic. I wouldn't waste my time talking about it. If I had any other person on the panel, I'd ask them whether they care to talk about it. For me, it's nothing. That's why when it came out, I didn't even contribute in any way to that conversation, if that makes sense. Okay, Joy, Nightbot is actually a machine. I know you didn't know, and a lot of people don't know. Yeah, but responding to it, it doesn't, it doesn't make any difference. But that's fine. More importantly, thank you for finding the time to join in the show. And this one here, it's an interesting one. It was controversial. It caused an outrage, the removal of the banner that had, I think it was Ray Wilkins. It turns out the name was spelled wrong. Correct me if I'm getting um, if you were acquainted with the situation, and then it was removed to be replaced with something by Apple. So this is as a Todd Boehly statement, and Todd Boehly had to release a statement, you know, to explain that they didn't do anything, that the deal had been done even before they bought the club. So people should stop blaming them. And I agree for those people calling it, those that have been, condemning the club's behavior, condemning, calling Todd Boehly all sorts of names, saying he knew exactly what he was doing. They owe the club an apology. And that is no joke. They should apologize to the man for all the nonsense they said about him with regards to the banner being removed. They said we had nothing to do with these arrangements. The deal with Apple was struck in 22. Okay, first quarter of 22. We are sorry it affected so many, but mostly we care about Ray and his family. We would also like to point out that none of the Chelsea players were actual Chelsea players. Hopefully that was clear. Um, I think to me, it says the name was spelled wrong. I'm not sure what the situation is, but we move on from that one. I'm not sure if there's anything else to talk about here. One more thing. Chelsea is determined to buy a club in Portugal. Jorge Mendes, the super agent, I think he has a good relationship with us now, which means signing big name players in the future won't be a big issue. Give me a second. Let me take a sip of my coffee so I don't lose my voice. So it says Georgie Mendes will help do the market research and especially facilitate any negotiations. At this moment, the businessman and the owner of Gestafood are in the initial process of prospecting, having studied with greater attention. Okay, greater attention. For example, Rio, Rio Avenue, and also Maureen. The second part of that comment is I'm not sure what it's trying to say there. But the most important thing is that we're seriously looking to buy a satellite club, to buy a club, make it a satellite club for Chelsea where players can go and develop. We've tried to buy one club in France, but it looks like that fell through. That didn't work out, so they're continuing with their effort to do so. So yeah, that's by the way. If you're watching, if you haven't, please do take a second, drop a like on the stream, and also subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And we go straight into the lineup using exercises, except if anybody in the chat has anything to talk about. If not, I will go into it. And I'll be using the poll a lot to get your opinion on what you think the lineup will look like come 2023, 2024 season. There's no clarity yet. We have lots of young players that we're not quite sure their place in the team, especially if the manager is going to be playing predominantly with a back three approach. This is going to help me a lot. Yeah, we have, for instance, in the case of Mykhailo Mudryk, certainly he has a place in the team. Otherwise, why spend that much money for him? I think the manager will find a way to work in his case. Noni Madueke, I'm not too sure what the club are going to do with him, but he's a talent. He's a good player. Can actually do more for us than he's done if given the time. But I think the process is going to be gradual. The question is, does he have a starting place come next season? Well, it depends on overall the players we have. And more importantly, the structure the manager chooses to play with. Nkunku has a place. Felix, if we end up signing him, certainly we can't pay that much money for him to be a bench warmer. But there's still a huge question with regards to what the club are going to do with Carney Chukwuemeka, with Noni Madueke, even Andreas Santos. Andreas Santos maybe because we're not too loaded in that central area, and there's a chance Ruben Loftus-Cheek leave. There's Zakaria. We're not going to sign him on a permanent, so there's a space for him there. And next year we have a lot more games to play. We'll have the 2 cup games to play. Uh, yeah, so maybe that makes it possible for the younger players to get starting places. But the question is, how often are they going to get chances to play for the club? If that makes sense. Yeah. So thank you so much for that. Let's get it started immediately. And if you have any questions in the chat, any contributions in the chat, go for it, and I'll be glad to get your comments. But thank you. And I want to take this opportunity also to say thank you to those of you that are watching, and for one reason or the other, again, for one reason or the other, you cannot participate in the chat. I want to let you know this: you're providing great value. You're providing great value to the community. The views will go a long way. But if you can do us one more favor, yeah, take a second, drop a like on the stream. The like will go a long way. So thank you, and thank you so much. Appreciate that. Let's go. Yes, let's do that. And big up to you, Rahayu, aka 343 Dilemma. Let's go, brother. And if you're watching, still watching Rahayu, I want to get your thoughts. Do you see places in the team come 23-24 season for you could say that the players we could say we didn't spend that much money for, even for Noni Madueke, 35 million plus. I don't think he'd be a bench warmer. I think he has a place in the team, but the question is, how often will he get a chance to play? Given the fact that if the manager plays predominantly with a back four, then he have to readapt the way he plays to have a place in the team, or to again to get to play what probably he will see as enough game time. But that's, by the way, in the case of Carney Chukwuemeka, he's still 19, and we spend around 16 million. I don't think the club will probably. There's a chance the club decides he goes out on loan. But let me know what you think of those 2 players. I want to get the argument of the panelists. That is, if I get anybody, join me. If not, I will roast fellow. And believe me, we'll have some fun there. Let me see. It says it depends if GP is with us or not. Okay. It depends if Graham Potter is with us or not. If Graham Potter is with us, he will play a back three because this is a back three manager. Yeah, no matter how anybody sees it, that's what he played. And thank you for Ty, actually, who did the research and come up with the numbers from that is clearly saying how much again with the using percentage to qualify how many times he played with the back three and all the variations of formations. So it turned out predominantly he played with the back three approach. So which means for Carney Chukwuemeka, maybe Carney can play. Yeah, he can play as an 8. He can play as one of the 3 forwards if the structure is 3-4-3. I'm not sure about him playing deep though. But somebody like Mudryk and what's his name? Mudryk and Noni Madueke would have to adapt their approach to have a place in the team. Probably start playing as forwards in a 3-4-3 structure, or maybe start playing adapting to playing as 8s in a 3-4-2-1 structure. So yeah, it comes down to the structure the manager plays predominantly. But unfortunately, most people are not paying attention. They don't know he's a manager that prefers playing with a back three structure. But here's where the issue lies. In the sense that we have traditional wing backs. When he plays with a back three, which means the wingers would have to adapt to playing as inside forwards, or maybe playing as 8s, if that makes sense. And see what we have here. He's been using this since the days of him being somewhat, again, in the Swedish league. Yep, I agree. So you're paying attention. Big up Kachila panel in chat. Santiago, the run gun. So big up, brother. Nice to see you. I hope you're doing well. I appreciate you finding time to join here. I guess is that the God of Frog who changed their name? Big up Kachila and the chat. Big up to you too. If you're just joining us, the question we're trying to ask. The places, are there places? How is the manager going to accommodate Noni Madueke and Carney Chukwuemeka in the team, plus Andreas Santos? Do you think those players have a place in the team? If yes, where in the team do they have a place? I really do want to know, because it sounds easy, but it's not really. It's really not that easy, if that makes sense. Let's see. If Graham Potter gets sacked at the end of the season, or after we lose our UEFA Champions League round and top four, surely that means the sack. No more excuses. At least that's what you think. But I think, yeah, it depends on how he ends the season. That will decide whether he stays or continues. No matter how much it will cost them to get for him to get the sack. But let's see what to do. Then I see Enrique or Zidane coming in using 4-3-3, 4-2-3-1. If it ends up being what's the German national team coach Hansi Flick. Hansi Flick, I think he favors a 4-2-3-1 mostly than any other formation, and that's one of my favorite formations actually, if that makes sense. It's if not Bali can get Thomas Frank and order him to use 4-3 and order him to use 4-3-3. That's an interesting one indeed. 4-3-3, yeah. I can't stop laughing about that, but we don't know if that really happened. A good manager will improve these young players. Now seems like a waste of money and time of buying all these players. It seems that's the case. If we're going to be playing mainly with a back three structure where we have wingers and wingers operate in those again in the left hand and right hand channels, or again from back to front, it makes it difficult to accommodate traditional wingers, which means the wingers we sign they have to readapt to work in the system. In the club, if that makes sense. Big up my bro, DJ. I hope you're doing well. And Chelsea, all the way. I hope you're doing well. DJ says, big up Kachila and everyone in the chat. Please subscribe and like the stream, people. Kachila working from home today. We'll try and jump on it. That will be awesome, brother, if I see you on. Big up yourself, Kachila. I had no idea that yes men were expensive. The beautiful game. Big up, brother. You see, my voice is way better right now. I hope you're doing well. Thank you so much for finding the time to join. And Bobby says, smash the like button, people. We are at 15 likes. Let's get it to 100 as soon as possible. We hardly do 100 these days since after the transfer window shut. I think we can do that, but it all comes down to you. If you believe we can do that, but I believe we can. It is my screen. Or are there lots of hand icons? Yep, I think Pixar. The cursor. I moved it too much here, so now it's taking the system some time to process it. I had to reconnect the old system. Something is wrong with the new one. I'm not sure what it is. So maybe it's taking it time to process how many times I moved the icon. So it's not just screen. You're very correct. Let's see what else we have here. Saying hello to Bobby. So let's go back to this. If you're watching, I want to get your thoughts on this particular topic here. To me, like I said, it doesn't make any sort of sense. It's nothing new. What's the difference between what we heard before that we had to pay Brighton at 20 million plus? So, and then it turns out the total is 21.5 million for Graham Potter to be a world record. What's the difference? To me, like I argued, it's just clickbaiting, if anything, because this is nothing new. This is something we already talked about. We already knew they paid around something in the region of 20 million. So why talk about it again? I get it. It's huge. And it's a lot of money paying it to get, you could say, an inexperienced manager. That's me trying to be as respectful as possible. So there's nothing new here. I don't know why we're talking about it. And if you are well acquainted with the situation, the Ray Wilkins situation, what do you make of it? To me, again, this sort of, you could say, this sort of, talk, I hate involving myself in it. And thank goodness, Bali has released a statement. And I'm going to read the statement again for those of you who missed it. He said, we had nothing to do with these arrangements. It's Todd Bali's statement on the Ray Wilkins banner. We have nothing to do with this arrangement. The deal with Apple was struck in the first quarter of 2022. We are sorry, it affected so many, but mostly we care about Ray and his family. We would also like to point out that none of the Chelsea players were actual Chelsea players. Hopefully that was clear. Probably because they misspelled the name I think that's what I read online. But to me, I wouldn't make so much of that. We'll move on for that. But if you have anything to say to that, you go ahead, shoot for it, and I'll try to get your comment. Sorry, I feel very uncomfortable with my watch in my hand. Maybe I have to take it up. But that's, by the way, let's see what else we have here. It looks like a capacity. The pass hit my being everywhere trying to stop the ball as a sweeper keeper. Let's see what else we have. It's like a reminder we overpaid for GP. Yeah, but it's really unnecessary. I wouldn't go to the extent of start talking about it when in fact we already knew it was that we paid 20 million plus. So this is nothing new here. So I think that is just them, like you said, more like reminding us we pay too much for Graham Potter because and why now? I think this is the international break. This is the international break, so probably it's nothing much to talk about in football. So it makes sense for them to just bring it up so people will start clicking on it and on all that. To me, I wouldn't worry. I wouldn't waste my time talking about it if that makes sense. The beautiful game that was bad. I don't understand why he got sacked. He's been a groundsman for years. Here's how I see that one. That's the reason something happened. We don't know. So if we see things, DJ, much love to you, and I agree where you're coming from. It sounds bad, but business is business. Here's the thing, and something happened, but we don't know. And the thing is that they said the club have refused to say why he was sacked. And if the man is good at what he does, then he most likely in no time get a job from somewhere else. So we don't know what happened. Some people are saying on social media that there's been leaks on Chelsea's preferred tactics and approach. That it looks like he was he's found out it happens that the groundsman was the one leaking Chelsea's formation, exact formation that we intend using in a particular game and all that, and players who are going to start. So yeah, maybe that's what he's done wrong. We don't know. If it's been the one doing that, do I think it's okay? No. So I can't just even though it feels like it's wrong, but I can't just sit here and say, you know what, that's wrong. That they shouldn't have sacked the groundsman. Yeah. So okay, no wonder. Yeah. So no wonder TJ started talking about it. So my point is, I wouldn't talk much about it. I don't think they just woke up on one day and say, you know what, he's done. If that makes sense. Something else DJ brought up. DJ sent me an update here, and I want us to look at it. Just give me a second. Let me see. Let me use this one here because we're not going to talk about this again. So let's see what he says here. Coach, I don't think leaving the WhatsApp group is grounds for sacking a man. Is that what you heard? No. That's hilarious. I honestly do not think he was sacked before because he left the WhatsApp group. You tell me the truth. Do you think that's the reason why they sacked him? No, I don't think so. So probably he left the WhatsApp group after he was sacked, or maybe he was removed from the WhatsApp group. So if somebody tells you that the groundsman was actually sacked before because he left the WhatsApp group, would you believe that? Just be honest with me. No, I don't think you'd believe that. But that's, by the way, again, if you're watching people, if you haven't, take a second, drop a like on the stream. The likes do go a long way. We have 41 likes. We have 18 likes, not even up to 20 likes. Let's get it to 100 as soon as possible. I know we can. I don't have to put up polls to remind you to like the video. The likes do go a long way. This says, did my math, and we can raise 300 million for player sales. With that amount, we can get Osimhen, Casado, Kone, and Paulinha. If we're getting Casado, why are we going for Paulinha again? Can you further elaborate? Even though they differ a bit, but it wouldn't make sense to have them all in the group. Kante will still probably get an extension of about 2 years, and will still have Kovacic at the club. And we've heard that the club's priority is to keep Kovacic. I don't know if that makes sense. I think our club's treatment of staff brought us bad luck. Wow, Leo Tanechi, that is some argument right there. But here's the thing: if I don't hear from anybody, this is the reason why they sacked the groundsman. I'm not going to dwell too much on that. I'm going to be honest with you because I don't know. And it's somebody's business. I get it. It's a club we support. We're always in. Why are we? Here's the thing. If we're being factual here, I'm sure under Roman Abramovich, they've sacked and hired new people beyond the managers. If we're being honest, under Roman's tenure, or at the time when he was still the owner of the club, they've sacked and hired new people, but we didn't hear about that. But just here's the thing, because things aren't going the way we expect things to be going right now, we're cherry picking, as the club would say. We're just trying to find everything that we could see as a fault to blame the owners, if that makes sense. So, yeah, I wouldn't dwell on that, the groundsman issue. I don't think that brought us any sort of good luck. I think it's clear there. I believe in a higher power, but I'm not overly superstitious in terms of thinking somebody, firing a worker for one reason or the other brings bad luck. No, I don't think so. But again, thank you for that. Good morning, everyone. Good morning to you too, Choma. I hope you're doing well. You should be at work right now, maybe on your way to work. Maybe you're just stopping by to say hi. But I hope you're doing well. Big up, Coach. How are you doing? I'm doing well today, way better. I'm also on an international break. Oh, okay. I was thinking maybe you didn't go to work today. So nice to have you around. Thank you guys for that's, by the way, I'm seeing something that's making me laugh. Unless he was using the training pitch to grow. Stop. I'm not going to read that. We don't know what he did for them. I'm not going to read that one. Did Bali eventually buy Strasbourg? No, I think that one fell through. I'm not sure. Correct me if I'm wrong. How many of our players will be sent on loan to Strasbourg? I'm not sure. I don't think the Strasbourg deal fell through. Now they're looking at buying a club in Portugal, which what we read here, Jorge Mendes is the one leading. In Portugal, and Jorge Mendes is the one leading the whole process, trying to help them negotiate, if that makes sense. Big up Kuchila. We just need a striker in the summer. I want Lukaku back to give another try, honestly. Okay, that's you. You're entitled to your opinion. Do I think the club want him back? I don't think so. I think he will create a toxic environment at the club. The fans will hate that. It would be difficult for them to support him, except if he comes back, then in the first 3 games scores like 10 goals or hat-trick each game, and then maybe they say, okay, we forgive you. Because the truth remains, the fans would take apologies in goals, if that makes sense. Just saying hello to DJ there. Let's see what else we have here. Kuchila, seems you are allergic to Casado. No, I'm not. Why are you? You always have to say that. And the fact is, if we're being honest, how much do you guys think we'll be spending come summer? Yeah, even if we get that much money, we still have to balance the book and keep praying that we win the Champions League or maybe make it the top 4. Because if we don't, majority of the sales we would do in the summer will most likely be to balance the book and not make purchases, if that makes sense. If you want me to repeat that, I'm going to repeat that. We spent so much that we had to go to the Premier League to give us a leeway as to how much we can spend in terms of transfer and all that. I forgot again something to that effect. So, and without the Champions League, we are borderline. We'll be close to. You can say getting into trouble with the FFP rules and all that. So yeah, I don't think it'd be that easy. So without the Champions League or without winning the Champions League, for us to be able to spend that much money on players. So hopefully we get top 4 or maybe win the Champions League. Then after the sales, we'd be able to sign these players you're mentioning. I wouldn't sell Kovacic, and I have my reasons. That's me. But you think we should sell him? Okay, but that's fine. RIP to my secret source who had a secret. He has died. Sorry to hear that. If you're watching, people keep dropping the likes on the stream. We have 44 people watching, which means we should do better than 20 likes. Please, the likes do go a long way. Even if you don't feel like subscribing right now, but if you're enjoying the show, take a second, drop a like on the stream, and also do subscribe to the channel if you haven't. The likes do go a long way. We're just at 20 likes. Let's move, people. We can do better than that. With the groundsman fired, no more team leaks. So let's see if that still happens. If team leaks continue, then someone else will probably continue. Someone else is still leaking. No way, coach. You know what? We could actually acquire a feeder club and wait for it. Ship GP to the to the club. So then when we don't have to fire him and pay huge compensation, but here's the thing: I'm sure his contract with regards to his job as sales manager is very specific as to what club he's coaching. So if the club would have to ship him to another club, except if the club mentions just Chelsea again as an entity and its subsidiaries, I don't know if, but I'm not a lawyer. Then that term may well mean okay, yeah, that term may well mean okay, yeah, maybe we can say this is the club we wanted to go and coach. But if it is specific, say Chelsea as a football club, you can't change that. If you try to change that, then you're trying to cause trouble. If that makes sense. Morning. I know someone who have been a decades-long friends of Jason, the groundsman, and these accusations are unfair and hurtful. Second, more likely due to Pretford Stadium move. Really? But you're not certain. Since you use the term second, more likely. That's still not certainty. But Dexter, big up to you. I hope you're doing well. DJ, before we go into the lineup building exercise, I hope you're doing well. Just quickly, I want to get your thoughts on. I don't know whether you're well acquainted. Let's move on from the club we want to buy. You're well acquainted with the Ray Wilkins banner blowback. What do you make of it?
I'll be honest with you, Kuchel. I've not seen that. Oh, going. I know. What's this we're talking about? Sorry. Is this about the football club?
The banner was taken down, and I think it was taken down and replaced with an Apple banner or so. Then it turns out, yeah. So it turns out that fans didn't like that, and they started complaining. But also, it turns out that the name was spelled wrong. I think so. Roy Wilkins or so. I'm not sure. I don't know. The reason why that was changed, I think it was. I don't know whether it was during the shoot of Ted Lasso video. I'm not sure what happened really. But to me, I'm not sure what to make of it. So if you're not well acquainted with the story, let's move on.
Fully of it.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
No worries. It happens. I myself isn't well acquainted with that. We don't know everything. This is not. I get it. I love Ray. I love when he was. I think he was Carlos. He was Carlos' assistant, right? Plus some of the managers.
Yes, he was. And
love him.
Yeah, go on, Coachella. Go on.
Now I was going to say, but this isn't something I want to actually, use my energy for talking about. To me, it was some sort of misunderstanding, and a lot of accuracy. I did see lots of apologies online with regards to the name. The people started calling Todd Bowley and code names, saying all this that disrespect to a Chelsea legend. But you go ahead. What you want to say?
No, to be honest with you, Ray, what everyone knows. I mean, I'm going on to the whole thing about Ray Wilkins. Everybody knows, obviously, what a player he was for us. Chelsea through and through. He was with Carlo Ancelotti as a number 2. But I mean, people say about this being a mistake. But let's be honest with you, it's not the first mistake Todd Bowley seems to be doing since he's come to our football club. All right, and I'm not saying what he's done is done on purpose, but I can understand the fans reacting in a way that they are, because let's be honest, some of the things Todd Bowley does at Chelsea, even I can't come to, even I don't understand, and obviously I can see why some of the fans that are very old school that used to watch Ray Wilkins play and see him come through the ranks as a football player coming through the Chelsea ranks, I can understand that. I think my dad, in fact, speaking, I think my dad was talking about this yesterday, but I wasn't fully with this. I wasn't with this. My dad was just saying something regarding this, or he heard something like that, and I wasn't fully with this story. But now you've come to remind me of it. It's now starting to become familiar with it, because my dad was reminding me of it as well. Look, I can understand why the fans are reacting in the way they do. I mean, as I said, it's not the first time. I mean, it could have been a simple mistake. I get that as well, but let's be honest.
Well, he explained it was done under the reign of Roman Abramovich.
Sorry?
He explained that the banner was swapped during the reign of Roman Abramovich, first quarter of 2022. So they're not owners then, actually.
No, they were not the owners. But then again, like I keep saying, I don't. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I do not. I mean, I go to the. I go to Stamford Bridge quite a lot. I follow the game. Go to them being a season ticket holder. But I don't think I've ever maybe looked at that kind of thing or seen that kind of thing on there. So I don't know how true this is, if it was under Roman Abramovich or not. I mean, if it's been picked up by some fans that have already seen it now under his ownership, then obviously they're going to assume it's obviously him because, as I say, obviously it was not noticed back when Roman was our owner still. So, look, you got to give him the benefit of the doubt. If it was there when Roman was there, as I keep saying, if it was a simple mistake, it was a simple mistake. But like I keep saying, going back to Todd Bowley, he's done a few mistakes generally, and I'm not just putting this one, but since he's been at Chelsea so far, so I can understand why the fans are reacting a little bit on it. But as I said, if it's not his fault and it's there, then you can't really blame the man for that, I guess, at the same time.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. Bobby, big up to you, brother. I hope you're doing well. Your thoughts on the Ray Wilkins story. What do you make of it? Or would you like us to move on if you're there? I know you're probably at work.
Yeah, I am working, and I may not be able to stay on for too long. Big up, Kurt. Big up, DJ.
Big up, Bobby. How are
Big
you,
up
brother?
to you, brother.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. I mean, this Ray thing. I mean, I don't really have that much of an opinion. I didn't, share, follow it up too much. Yeah, some people got offended, I think, with the change in the wording of the banner. It was a banner that was paid for by fans and so on. Okay, fine. Todd Bowley and co have said something that, to my understanding, is like, well, they didn't actually do it, and they've apologized, and for me, I'm not running your show, but I don't even think it's worth a further mention.
I don't think it's worth that. What you make of the groundsman story? Some people are saying, for instance, we don't know. Like I said, we shouldn't even be talking about. We don't know why the man was fired. It's somebody's business. For him to be fired, he must have done something wrong.
This is the thing. The other night I listened to a platform. Oh my gosh. I mean, it was like, drink half a bottle of vodka, slash your wrist, and throw yourself off London Bridge. I mean,
God almighty.
This fan base, what are you becoming? Whinge International. Bunch of beta males whinging, moaning, looking to attack the owners. I mean, what is this? Every little thing. We're now getting involved in the groundsman. Being appointed, not appointed. You know what I'm saying? I like anybody else, I have affiliation and love for people that have served the club. I really do. But if their job has been changed for reasons best known to the new owners, I'm not sure it's really anybody's business. To be honest, I'm just not sure if you're having an opinion is anybody's business. Did the groundsman complain? Did he reach out to Chelsea fans to complain about being fired? I haven't heard that. It's just the fans all of a sudden looking at everything and anything about the owners to attack because they haven't come in and delivered short-term immediate success on the pitch. That's what I find almost childish. It's silly. Some of them now attacking the club, attacking the owners because of their players, their favorite players, what they presume is going to happen to their favorite player. I think you all know who I'm talking about, who seems to be the only player at the moment that can trigger such, emotions. And so we have people that I love so much, but making streams, and it's also miserable. It's awful. I mean, I very, very nearly did something that I just don't want to do. I got so fed up. I thought, right, let me open a stream, go through some things, some learning things about Chelsea, some interest things about Chelsea as a fan. I'm tired of the whinging, the moaning, the negativity, doomsday. Oh, this is going to happen to the club. Oh, Bowley this, Bowley that. They're talking about Bowley as if he's the sole owner of the club. The guy is part of a consortium doing his job within the consortium. There's nothing. These guys haven't come and bought Chelsea and want to
Mm.
destroy it. They're trying their best. And if you think it's that easy, you go and own a football club. We have specific people. Some of them come on this platform. All they ever let out about the owners is negative stuff. Attack, attack, attack. Oh, they've spent too much money. They haven't spent too much money. They haven't spent enough money. Oh, they bought this player. Oh, they shouldn't have bought this player. Oh, they want to do this. Oh, they shouldn't have done this. Oh, they're
Bobby,
trying to
can I
buy clubs.
Bobby, can I ask you a question? Do you think it could be down to this, brother? Do you think it could be down to the fact that when Roman first came to Chelsea, right? I think this is what I think. I'm not with I get where you're coming from. Everything you've basically said, because most of the time I agree with everything you say to me. Everything you say, I agree with generally, right? But I think some of the fans are literally saying, when Roman first came to Chelsea, we had Claudio Ranieri as our manager, didn't we? And he
Yeah.
gave Ranieri a chance. He brought in the players that he wanted for that season, all the players that he bought for him. And Ranieri ended up making us finish third before he left Chelsea. And then I think Mourinho came in and took over. And obviously, then Jose came in, and we all know the history after that, what happened with Jose after that and the things he won. I think what fans are looking at now,
which he was never going to have.
Yeah. And I think what the situation with this one is, I think because he's come in and made such a decision on getting rid of Thomas Tuchel so early in his Chelsea, especially under his ownership, because let's be honest, Thomas Tuchel won us trophy. The difference between Thomas Tuchel and Claudio Ranieri is Thomas Tuchel won us trophies and won us things, and Ranieri did not. And I think when they went and got rid of him and then brought in Graham Potter, I think that's why a lot of the fans have gone and switched over it, or thinking, why have we bought this guy? And when we had a successful winning manager, I think what people are probably looking at is maybe given Thomas Tuchel at least the season, and then made the change the following season, the new season, saying you've taken us to where you can. We can't win a Premiership under you. Let's bring a manager in who can come and do that. But he's gone completely the other way. He's literally sacked the manager, brought in a manager that's not really won anything. And I think a lot of the fans are just questioning that. And I think what's going along with it, this whole situation of Mason Mount's contract. I know this is a play we're talking about. This whole thing with Mason Mount, we all know amongst the Chelsea fans how all the fans love him and want to see this guy sign up, and he's come from our ranks and everything. It's just adding to the situation with Graham Potter, I think, and I think that's why you're getting all this commotion coming from the fan base. And I'm not one of those that's in there. I'm in what do you call it? Because I want to see my club. I always think of the club first. I don't think about the manager. I don't think about anything. My thing is Chelsea Football Club, as I've always been. Not the players, not the manager, just the manager. But I also want to see my team do well under the right manager. And I just think a lot of fans are just thinking, give Potter his chance, they're saying. But I think they're seeing all this stuff going on around us with how we're playing, lying in the position that we're lying in the Premiership now. And I think a lot of the fans are just reacting. And this whole thing with Mason Mount is not helping the situation as well. Do you get where I'm coming from?
Absolutely. Look, I 150%, if there is such a thing, understand you. And I 150% understand where the fans are coming from about Potter. Is frustrating and about Tuchel. Definitely. We all love Tuchel. And we're all very skeptical about Mr. Potter. But, there's a time where it is what it is. What's done is done.
Correct.
And sometimes, because of the way these people had to take over the club, their errors, are going to be magnified because everything had to be done short term. Did they do the right thing in sacking Tuchel? On the face of it, no. But, I am made to understand, and I don't know, that there were underlying things. There are all sorts of rumors going around. Remember, Tuchel was not in the best of personal emotional states. He wasn't particularly in control of the dressing room. There were issues going on with him and the players at that time. I don't know. Who knows? The fact that he's had to go away and clear his head and take time off and things, it may be telling. I have no idea. All I know is that what's done is done, and we need to go forward.
Move on from it.
I don't think these people will do things just like that somehow. I really don't. It's just like the sacking of the groundsman. They must have had discussions. There must be compensation, because I've not heard doodly squat from the groundsman. It's all
Yeah,
from
it's
the
true.
fan.
It's true. It's
You
true
know,
as well.
we've got Billy McCulloch in
Yeah, he's
the
funny.
Hitman.
He's so funny.
Everybody loves him. Those that I
Yeah,
think we've been at Chelsea since
yeah,
before I've
yeah,
been at Chelsea, to be
yeah.
honest.
Yes.
So if he goes tomorrow, that people are going to kick off. Whereas he's probably going to be fine, take a good pension, and he ain't
Yeah,
going to say a word and still be a Chelsea fan. So I
yeah.
don't know. We
True.
don't know the ins and outs. McCulloch has been such a big part of that back room.
The
So
Joker, the Joker in the back room, bruv.
exactly, and he's very good for team spirit. So
He
God
is
forbid,
very
I
much.
don't want to bring him into this because I don't want him
Yeah,
to leave. But
yeah.
I think
I know what you mean.
we have become too erratic with our emotions. We
Yeah,
want to look for who to hang. We're looking for. It's always a witch hunt. Who to burn at the stake? Who to lynch in order to feel better? Whereas sometimes in life, there's no one to lynch. There's no one to burn at the stake. It's just to wait and see how it pans out. And I think we're in that phase. We can't
yeah,
it's unlikely we'll get rid of this man till the summer. I personally believe the only thing that can guarantee him that he'll be here next season is winning the Champions League, in my opinion.
yeah.
I
Hey,
heard Coach talk
Come on,
about buying players if we don't get to the Champions League. Well, I say yes and no. A lot will be determined by the kind of sponsors we bring in. I mean, if
yeah,
we get a new sponsor to replace three, who comes in at a humongous sum, breaking
yeah,
the records of all these other clubs that have had high sponsors, then we don't need to worry about the Champions League to buy players in the summer. So
yeah,
there's so many permutations to this, and we've got to sit back a bit and watch and wait a bit rather than get so wound up in negativity. There's barely a platform you go to. That's why I'm here, because at least Coach is expansive and he questions some of the negative things. But you go on a lot of platforms and it's all negative, negative. Now I'm like, crikey, lads,
yeah. It is true. It's
chill.
true. Very negative vibe at the moment. Yeah,
all right, thank you so much for that, Bobby. I appreciate that. Reshuffle Potter's role to groundsman. Let's see if that happens. It's still a job, which means they haven't fired him. But like I've said before, his job specifically said he'll be the first team. Probably on his contract, he have it there specifying that he'll be the first team coach. If he changes his job, he may well ask you for more money, so you'd be better off firing him, if that makes sense. Coachella, it's because I had mentioned it's because had I mentioned Rice, you wouldn't have mentioned financial fair play. No, actually, I'd take Casado over Rice. So you're mixing things up. Like I said, I'm just trying to be again look at things from other areas to say come to a sensible conclusion, if that makes sense. I like Casado actually, and I wasn't happy that we weren't able to sign him, but I understand why. Coach out there defending dodgy clients. I heard Patton needs a representation. I can't be his lawyer, but I know where you're going with that one. Constantine Dante. Hello, everyone. Chip. Hello to you too, Constantine Dante. I know a lot of people wouldn't know where that's coming from, and I prefer it saying that way. But more importantly, I hope you're doing well. No, I'm not certain. Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. We're not certain, but you just mentioned what somebody you know said about the groundsman. We've heard about the sacking before the match versus Everton. The impression I got was that it was unfair, but then dig deeper into it. So yeah, so we're just taking it on a surface level what we heard. So let's move on from it. There's no way they'd sack him without him doing anything. And like I said before, under Roman Abramovich, beyond the manager, chances are they fired hundreds of people and we didn't know about it. But because of the way things are going right now, every little thing that happens at the club is a lot of issue for us. We take issues with every little thing that matters. I'm going to read this anyway. Bolly does not care about our history. That's what you think because you haven't heard maybe that he knew nothing about the banner. Our previous regime, our legends, our trophy hall, or our achievement, he literally wanted to raise a Romana and everything he stood for from the history books. Wow. I'm going to remember you said this. That's all I can say. If Potter was a good manager, we wouldn't be talking about FFP as top four would be guaranteed after spending 600 million. That's the truth. If we're being honest, on Ray's banner, league did deal with Apple. Okay, the league did a deal with Apple, not the club. It was poor for the league to unilaterally, I hate that word, agree to change. Oh, let me just say, uniformly agree to changes on 20 clubs. Wow, I get it. Clubs now more about their history. Clubs know more about their history than producers. I think it makes sense now. If they didn't do it, why apologize? Because they're the owners of the club. If that makes sense. This Bali guy is making Chelsea look like circus. I don't think that's what's happening. But you have every right to your opinion. You are entitled to your opinion. I guess all these off the field issues magically disappear if we were winning. The fans are bored. That's exactly the point, and that's why I love you. You say everything you say, but you know the fact, and when you speak fact, I give you credit for that. Yeah, the fans are bored. We're not winning, so every little thing that happens is a big problem. Big up to you, Keshan, the New York guy. This is new to me. What did Todd Bowley do? He didn't do anything. I think Ray Wilkins' banner was removed for something with Apple. I'm not sure production about. I'm not sure what they're producing. I'm not sure if it is the Ted Lasso show or so. So in the process, they removed a Chelsea Legends banner. That caused a stir, and he explained it was removed during the first quarter of 2022, and they weren't the owners then. So we move on from that one. Good morning, everyone. Good morning to you too. Olatico, I hope you're doing well. Bali is about winning. Not every plan is going to be foolproof, though. Mistakes happen, and he's made a few, and hopefully he learns from that. One of the one I think he should learn from is not to give manager 300 years contract. Absolutely right, mate. With top team hires a Portuguese manager dropping out standards for personal interests. Okay. Tuchel had issues with the players and vice versa, but people forget that. I'm not gonna. That sounds, Keshan, I love you, but that sounds like more like you're doing what's it called? What about this? What about that? I don't care. If you can't tell me what exactly happened with Thomas Tuchel, I wouldn't worry myself about it really. Bali is okay, fair to be honest. A firing of staff and hiring of this amateur is the only part he's put foot wrong. Okay, let's see. Tuchel, with all the problems he had, it's about he's still better. This emotional intelligence manager. Okay, Bali comments caught on camera after the Everton game really does not help. In case put a mic in front of him and press record, you're guaranteed a controversy. His comments after Everton wasn't something to the effect of it was SHIT and then FU whatever game. To me, you can interpret it the way you want. My interpretation is that he wasn't happy about the result, if that makes sense. I don't know how you see it differently. What else do we have here? I agree, Chelsea, all the way. Just conversation between you two. I want to know if Roman has a buyback clause in the sale of Chelsea. So tired of these new owners. I'll check for you. Bolly tweets like Trump. Hi, an admin, bro. Do you think he tweets himself? How do you come up with that? That's miserable. Let's see what we have here. Bolly is all about getting new sponsors and those banners cover up. I think he knows now that those banners are not coming off the stadium, but in new stadium, that could be a problem. I think that's how you see it. They could do whatever you want and say to heck with the fans. And if all you do, then you come back to supporting Chelsea again, if that's how you want to see it, really. But again, I think he knows quite well. He will find a way to still show respect to former players of the club and the legends of the club. He's not stupid. Please, good morning, everyone. The truth is Chelsea is too bigger than Porter. Okay, but Agwanda Jefferson, thank you so much for your contribution there. I'm sure in the new stadium, all ads will be digital. For sure, really. That makes sense there. Constantin Dante, big up to you, brother. New owners are not camera shy. Talk about us and the club at business events. I am sure they want to be successful. Yeah, because even if you're profit focused, the club has to be doing well for you to make any sort of money, if that makes sense. That's the logic. When you look at it, there's no way you're telling me they want to see the club fail. Or if all they care about is profit and let the footballing aspect of the whole thing suffer, then profit will not happen, if that makes sense. Let's see, does anyone have any proof that Tuchel had issues with players? I hate talking, that's why I say I hate talking about that. If you can't tell me one thing I hate hearing is a story that if what Todd Boehly told one of the club owners, that if I were the owner, I would fire Thomas Tuchel. No, no, I wouldn't fire Thomas Tuchel for what I don't know, and nobody has the right to tell me I will fire anybody because of what they feel like they will fire somebody for, if that makes sense. But that's, by the way. Then forget that. He says some people who criticize fans for having a go at Potter, then forget and themselves had a go at Tuchel. At Tuchel's process justifying Potter. I'm not into whataboutism. I still believe if Potter can learn from the mistake he's made so far as Chelsea manager, he can do well. Do I think he's the right man for the job right now? No. Do I think he can improve? Yes. People do learn from their mistakes. I'm not worried about it. People just act like it was all peaceful then. It wasn't. I get it. But I've spoken my mind with regards to what people saying. If I were the manager and he did what happened, then I would have fired him too. Todd Boehly is just having PTSD when fans sang Roman's name during one of the defeats. Yeah, but I've spoken my mind. What I make of that is coming after the Everton game. Like I said, people have the right to interpret it the way they want. It's open for interpretation. That's why I want us to, as soon as possible, to start building the lineup. If you're watching, if you haven't, please keep dropping the likes on the stream, and also do subscribe to the channel if you haven't. The likes do go a long way. If Chelsea still want Rafael Leao in the summer transfer window, they could be playing. I mean, is that maybe it meant they mean paying? They could be paying 40 to 50 million less than they would have had. They would have had to pay last summer. As his valuation has dropped significantly because he hasn't renewed, but I think there's a chance he still renews up before that time. If we can still sign him for that amount, but the truth remains the club has priorities, and we're loaded in the wing. In the game, we have lots of wingers already. That given the fact if Graham Potter is going to be playing predominantly with a back three structure, then we'd have a problem to accommodate them. So I'm not sure if that's a signing that would make sense. And another update there, Chelsea linked with 19-year-old who's a talent, but a gamble. Okay, I'm not sure about that one. But DJ, let me get your thoughts on the Rafael Leao story. Would you like to see it happen? To me, it's a signing that wouldn't make sense because we have too many wingers already, except if somebody leaves and he comes in. But your thoughts?
Yeah, no, listen, it's very true what you've just said there. I wanted Leao, as you all know, Kachi, I think I went onto your streams many times. I wanted Leao at Chelsea for a long time before we even looked at Mudryk. But the money, I think that because of his situation, because obviously he was coming to the last year of his contract, we thought we could get him on a good deal. Now, what I understand, the understanding of it all now is because he hasn't signed an AC Milan contract now, we can get him for if Chelsea were to go in for him now, it'll either be between 40 to 50 million less this time, but that's around about 80 to 90 million Chelsea can get him for now.
Except if he signs a new contract before then.
However, that's correct. If he doesn't, that's only if he does not sign a new contract. So, do I think it's worth getting him now? Probably not, because as you said, we've already got too many wingers in that position. You're probably looking at players like, Cho, Pulisic, Ziyech, players like that need to leave in order to bring him in. And if he was to come in as well, you still got Mudryk there, you still got Raheem Sterling there, and you can also possibly, even if you're going to bring, say for example, you're going to bring in Joao Felix in there as well. He can play on that position as well. So you have got these players coming through. With players already there at the football club, and whatever else we've got for our youth ranks as well. So is he worth coming in now? Probably not. But again, you've got to look at the money. If they say they can get him for a good offer, then I still wouldn't say no to him. But at this moment in time, probably no, not now.
Yeah, it would. It's a business that wouldn't make any sort
Yeah,
of sense.
correct.
Except if the plan
Correct.
would be to get him and sell one of the wingers we have.
Yeah.
Even selling a single winger right now, we still have too many wingers. If the manager prefers playing predominantly with a back three structure, it wouldn't make any sort of sense.
Yeah.
It's just a low thought. All coaches have issues with squad members. It's about how they manage the situation and succeed. Yep, I agree with you. Spending 600 million on players of a Potter to learn on the job, what a waste. Yeah, chances are, given the fact that I believe the numbers, people, at least that's what we're told, they looked at his numbers and realizing he has 31 win percentage. But I really want to move on from Potter before they hired him. So probably they were aware that he has the potential. They see him as a potential and thinking with a club like Chelsea and with the sort of players they signed for him that he'd do better. So they probably know that, yeah, he'd stumble. That's how I see it. For me, I still don't think he's the man. I'm going to be clear here. A coach with this quality of players, and he doesn't know how to make the correct changes or do changes as you wrote there. He's not a good coach. I think that's your point there. Potera Tepeho, my brother from the Madiba line. I hope you're doing well. Thank you so much for finding the time to join in the show. Camby, I haven't seen you in a while. How are you doing? Guys, do you think if we were to sign Leao, we can play him as a number 9? Then it wouldn't make any sort of sense. And DJ, you know him too well to know whether he's played there before. He's very good at finishing and was previously playing as a striker. Maybe the club will decide to go for him for that, or I don't know.
Like, I'll be honest with you, I've not really seen him play in a striker as well. I've always seen him come off the wing. Always. I mean, I think he can play maybe as I would even put him as even as a false 9. He's more better. He's more suited on the wing. He can cut in. He's got, as we all know, he's got electric pace. He can get around. He's got a good shot on him from distance as well, and he likes to cut in from that left-hand side as well. That's where he plays his best football. He cuts in from the left and has a good shot from the other side, or he can bring others into play as well. So whether he can play that striker role, the hold up, I think people are looking at him because he's tall, he's dangling, he can probably hold that play. They're probably thinking, but he's also, for a tall guy, he's actually quite lightweight as well. He can actually get pushed with the ball very easily as well. So in terms of him holding up the play, I don't think he's that kind of player that could do that for us. But coming in off the wing, 100% definite. I mean, he could be that kind of player. He's also good in the air because he's obviously he's also quite tall. So any kind of corner kicks that were to come in, he could probably get his head onto them. But again, I've never seen him get many headering goals either. He's always scored goals with his feet hardly. I mean, he's got the odd header here and there, but yeah, he's a good player. He's an excellent talent. But as I said, we've already got Mudryk on that left-hand side. Does he come in Does he come in and interrupt this kid? Does he come and interrupt this kid's opportunity then? If he comes in, because if that is the case, you're going to splash that 80 million on Mudryk, and then you're bringing in another 90 million pound winger that could possibly come in there and do that as well. Is it worth it? We've already got Raheem Sterling on that side as well, who can play that side as well, and then you've got obviously Madueke who can play on the right hand side. So then you're looking at, he's not. I mean, I know Sterling can sometimes go on the right hand side as well if need be. And then you could probably say, okay, bring in Mudryk, bring in Leao and play him along with Mudryk. But then again, Mudryk won't get into the team. So I don't want to stop that kid's development because, as we all know, he's a great talent. So I wouldn't want to see him lose his development over that.
I think here's the thing. I think AC Milan will end up extending his contract.
I think that's well.
Yeah, and just to be clear, this says that if Chelsea still want Rafael Leao, this is not saying that we're going after him. If you're paying attention, if you're watching and you're paying attention. So we have to have that conversation. If Chelsea would want to go for him, maybe Chelsea decides, because the reason why I believe Chelsea forfeited their pursuit of Leao in the first place was because they heard he was on the verge of extending his contract at AC Milan. That was why they went for Mudryk.
Yep.
So if that's the case, I think he'd still stay at Milan. He's going to stay at Milan, especially if they go as far as getting to the semi-finals of the Champions League. He stays. And they can convince the player, say, let's just give you a new contract. We want to sell you. There won't be buyout clause, but if any club can give us that much money, we'll sell you. You may well want to live on a good note and help them make more money off of him.
Yeah,
that's
correct.
How I see it.
And the other thing I'll also say, what people don't also got to realise is if anyone was to sign Rafael Leao anyway, they'd have to pay another 15 million to Lisbon. And that's only because, I don't know if anybody knows the story, when he left Sporting Lisbon, he left on bad circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
He literally forced his move from there, and they took legal action against him. So anybody that has to sign Real now will not only have to pay the money for him, but will also have to pay the extra 15 million that's owed to Sporting Lisbon on top of all that, which is for legal fees and legal things. Whether Chelsea want to get into that kind of a situation as well is another thing. I don't know if they would want to. So that's the other thing.
So it's not. You make a good point, DJ. His signing Leao is not as simple as that. He still have legal issues with regards to his transfer from a Portuguese club to French a French side. He hasn't settled that, and any club that wants to sign him has to be the one to settle that. Probably that has been the proposal all this while. To me, it's a signing that wouldn't make sense. It's a signing, one of those signings because he's a good player. Let's just sign him, and then end up having a bloated squad that the manager wouldn't have a good idea what to do with. So I don't think we're signing him by this FC. Yeah, exactly. That's how I see it. Chelsea Blue and Zalani, I hope you both are doing well. And Kakao, I hope you're doing well too, Patrick. I'll pick up our Chelsea fan, big up to you too. We don't need Leao. Yep, I don't think we need him right now. It'd be a signing that doesn't make any sort of sense. We shouldn't go for Leao. So I'm going to get your comments. Once I get to the very bottom, we go straight to the lineup building exercise. There is a disturbing fact on Graham Potter versus Ancelotti. Graham Potter has never won against Ancelotti. Everton. How many times did they play? Out of 3 meetings, he lost 2, drew 1. Well, is that really enough count? Why are you scaring the heck out of people? In just 3 games. Well, at Everton, he didn't have the players he has at Chelsea. So if we can drill his team well, I think we'll still have time enough to prepare well for that game. I think we'll do well. If you are any best players for the team and this coach is there, nothing common. People don't trust him. People don't trust Graham Potter. Should Tuchel sign for Real Madrid, Chelsea will be raided for Kante, Mount, Havertz, James. Simply inevitable. I don't think he'd come for Mount. I don't think if he'd come for Kante. Maybe James, but good luck.
He ain't going to get James or Havertz.
Yeah, he's not going to get
none of them. None of them.
Yep, it's not going to happen. We have enough of players that can cut back from left wing. Graham Potter can figure it out. Now imagine adding new players again. Yeah, I think he compounds the situation for him. He's already complaining that the club is too big. And we're not sure. Here's the thing. One thing is to want to sell a player. The question is how many of them will leave? For instance, injury can happen and you can't sell an injured player. For instance, a player would want to go to a certain club before you even sell them. So, and the selling all comes down to whether we make it into Champions League or not. Or it can I was going to say the salary of the players is a huge problem too. Some of them don't want to take a pay cut. Isn't Leao into Arsenal? No, that is just all rumors. We don't need wingers. We don't need more wingers. Yeah, we don't really. Please let me tell you, people. It's not the players' signings. The main problem is the coach. Jefferson, I like your name, by the way. Thank you for saying that. That's your comment. Enough of this false nines strategy. Chelsea need a proper striker. We've had that before, and we're looking at Osimhen, and I'm tired arguing as to why I think Osimhen wouldn't work at Chelsea. But remember, my argument isn't that Osimhen is a bad player. If we change manager and the next manager is Mourinho, has to bring Osimhen one time, if that makes sense.
Can I just say something on Osimhen quickly? I want Osimhen more than anything to come to Chelsea. I do rate him, but this happens with any of the strikers that we get. I've always said this: anything turns sour and the striker's not scoring goals, I don't want the fan base to start turning against them, because we all know Osimhen is a quality striker. Okay, and some of our exactly, and some of our fan bases, because on the street, on the streams that I've read, and just in general, people just hit at the player when things don't work out, and they really come onto a player. And the last thing is a player like that coming. I want him to come to Chelsea more than him. If he does come in, I just hope the fans are prepared to give the guy time, because that's what it's going to be. Because then Nkunku's going to need time as well, and I just hope to God the fans don't switch, as we've seen them do with Havertz. Sometimes some of them are now jumping on Felix as well. You know, and you don't want that kind of thing. Do you get me? And I know fans want to see. I want to see success at my club more than anything. But as long as the fans can just like, you know, look at it and say it's going to take a bit of time, because Osimhen will take, he, you know, even though he's scoring goals and banging in goals, the Premiership is a whole new ball game altogether. And I think he'll be suited to the Premiership, no doubt. But I just hope he gets given a time, because let's be honest, it's not just us that want him. Manchester United also want him as well. And if they get these new owners, oh boy, you can see the signings they're going to make if they do end up getting the big owners that they deserve, that they think they're going to get.
Yeah, I agree with you. Sort out the midfield before looking at attackers. Kante is no guarantee because of injuries. Enzo cannot play every game. That's the truth. I cannot be injured. Then what? If he gets injured, then what? Enzo, I think the perfect rotational player for Enzo would be Kovacic. And I say we keep him. And Kovacic, that's a chance he improved. The whole thing comes down to the front, again, to the demands of the manager. The demands of the manager can define how a player plays. That's why you can see a player be crappy under one manager and be world class under the other, if that makes sense. There's one position we really need, center forward. Okay. Proper pure striker, Constantine Dante. Keep saying that. Let's see what the club does. Leao is overrated. I wouldn't buy him, and we really do not need him. BK, some argument right there. Hit the like button, people, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And Taboho, when you get a chance, share the link to your channel so that people can go check it out. And if you're part of the Chelsea Perspective community and you have a YouTube channel, let us know. We can help you promote it free. You don't have to pay anything. But before you be able to share a link, I think you have to be a mod. Let's see who else we have here. Will there be any decent wingers left in the market once fans are done with shopping in FIFA game? I don't think there'll be any. And hopefully we don't get Leao. It's a signing that wouldn't make sense right now. To compete, Chelsea needs two good players in every position because of the amount of games and injury. Yep, competing players. Two starting players in every position, not one being a starter and the other one being a backup. I dislike that. And that's why I hate saying the word backup, because if the starting player gets injured and all you have is a backup player, then you're in trouble. And then by default, the quality drops once the backup player comes in. Tuchel is the morning linked with Tottenham. This morning is linked with Tottenham. That has started long ago, and the rumors are that he doesn't want to coach Tottenham. But I remember that the fact that he's a Tottenham fan, so there's a chance he takes it. Porter is no match for Ancelotti. We can only win at the players are taking on themselves like the players of 2012. So you're not giving Demeter any sort of credit there. I get that. With the players we have now, Osimhen will score goals for fun. Enzo Felix forward-thinking players, unlike backward and sideways passes. Maybe. So I'm going to rest my argument. If he comes and does well, I'll take it. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel, people. We can do better than 40 likes. Let's get it to 50 and then shoot for 100 as soon as possible. The likes do go a long way. Thank you for saying that, Choma. Constantine Dante, if you buy a Kane, he doesn't need time. He still needs time because he has to develop chemistry with his new teammate. He has to understand how they play. I'm sure Chelsea players don't play like a Son. Korean international. Some the Chelsea players don't play like all the players they have at Tottenham. So yeah, he would need to adapt to, if that makes sense. But I get where your argument is coming from. All pure strikers that finish for fun don't really need time. Wow, that is some strong argument. That is some strong argument. But just quickly, DJ, before we move on to the lineup building exercise, do you really think that if we sign Kane, he wouldn't need time to adapt?
He won't need as much time, no, because obviously he's used to the Prem, but he'll have to learn the Chelsea way of playing things, of how we play. But I don't think it will take him that long. And he's too adapted to the league, mate. And I can see him being an excellent signing if we were to get him. But I just cannot see Tottenham and then Daniel Levy selling him to Chelsea. I cannot see that for the life of me. If anything, he'll probably end up going Manchester United, if anything, if he does move, because he doesn't want to go anywhere else. Apparently, he says he doesn't want to go to Bayern Munich or play abroad. He wants to stay in the Premiership. And it looks like only United, Man City, possibly Newcastle, because he won't come to Chelsea, as I said, because of the reason of Levy. They're the only three clubs that could possibly get him. And
it will clearly not be Man City again because they have Haaland now.
Exactly. Or Liverpool. Maybe Liverpool won't do it either, but I don't think they've been in for him, though. I think it's just the other two.
Mm. Yeah, sports and and exes. Yeah, exactly. Every time we have a breakup, they go for the ex. Yeah, I get that's a hilarious way to put it from Choma. No, he won't need time because EPL and his positioning. I think he's an excellent player. Here's the thing: the reason he wouldn't need that much time, but I think he needs time to again chemistry with his teammates is important. That still needs time. But he could still be effective with that scoring goals because Ken can actually the way he operates, that's just in my opinion, can actually play as a 10 and be effective. He can start at a 9 and he doesn't have to score. He enjoys dropping deep and participating in the play. And if you make a good run, he finds you. He's that good. I don't care about the time. I will take him, but good luck to us getting him, if that makes sense. Coach, I wish a Potter had more fire in him. A manager is more than coaching. It's a culture, and the manager brings in Potter really has deflated us as a fan base. And that's why you guys take your time to find every little thing that's gone wrong with the club and run with it. Difference between Mount and Felix isn't different, just that Felix has flair. Wow. Really? No. Felix has flair. Mount has Mount offers more industry on the pitch. Felix is a better creator. If we're being honest, actually, is the most creative of the two, not just flair. But that's, by the way, Coach. If you get Kane, we are winning the EPL immediately. No, maybe not this year at least, but I get where you're coming from. Unless Daniel Levy got overwhelmed by the circumstances and what's about to come. Yep, Conte leaving with no words, with no world-class manager keen on joining and are out of top 4. Then who knows? Kane might just make the switch. I think he's going to leave the club. If he wastes time, he may well end up his career without winning any trophies. Correct me if I'm wrong, DJ.
No, the situation with Harry Kane is, from what I understand, is he
won anything at all?
Sorry?
Has he won anything?
Well, he's not won anything, no. But what I will say about Harry Kane is from what I understand, the reason why his love for Tottenham is what's keeping him at the football club, and that's the reason why he doesn't want to even. That's why he doesn't even want to leave. I don't think the trophy situation. I mean, there is a lot of talk coming out that he'll be happy to leave Tottenham at the end of the season, if they need to sell him on. But his plan is to stay at Tottenham. That's his plan. He wants to stay at Tottenham and try and win trophies with them. We're talking about saying 150 million for him. Yeah, if United were to come in with 150, 200 million, then you're probably looking at Daniel Levy even looking at that. But his thing, he's always been saying, Kane, is that he wants to stay at Tottenham and win something with Tottenham. Now, if he does that, it's more than likely he's not going to do anything and end up being wasted at Tottenham with no trophies. So if I'm him, I'm thinking to myself, do I really want to win? I want to look back on my career and say to myself, if I was a football player like him, a professional like him, and I want to look back on my career, I want to say that I've won some trophies. This guy is a top striker. He deserves to be winning trophies. And as much as I don't like saying that about Tottenham players, I have to give my credit where credit is due. And he is a top player. And for this guy not to win anything in his career whatsoever, for me, I mean, as a player, I mean, just generally as a person, I don't think he'd be happy within himself. So, but from what I understand and what I'm hearing is that he wants to stay at Tottenham. So, that is his big thing first. His first opportunity is to stay at Tottenham. So let's see what happens to that one.
Maybe he should pay attention because he's not Benjamin Button.
No.
He's not. Because
he's not.
It becomes even more difficult to win trophy if he stays there. Because as he ages, at some point he becomes a big part player. Which means if he wins trophy, he probably on the bench that they did win it. If that makes sense. But if there's one coach we don't want to see at Spurs, it's Tuchel. If he goes there, he changes everything. And if he ever signs with them, probably they've agreed to sponsor it's just to get the players he wants in. And even with the players they have currently, Tuchel is a good tactician. He'll take them a long way, really.
Definitely.
He would genuinely improve them, but does he really need to go there? He's a sports fan, never say never, but maybe he's waiting for the Real Madrid job because Ancelotti, I don't think, will stay there that long. But even Kane might struggle with Potter. Here's the thing, something we're saying here, this is Chelsea all the way, referencing a movie that we've seen before. Kane is too slow for my liking. Okay, that's not the one I'm talking about. For my liking, with our current players like Enzo and Felix, we need a forwards with speed who can run in behind. I think that makes sense. I think probably we need pace, but there's other ways you can utilize Kane. You can play two. We can play two strikers. Him being one to always drop deep, creating spaces for the much quicker striker, or maybe finding the much quicker striker. So that's not an issue for me. His pace isn't an issue. Coach Kane, with this horrible football he's playing with Spurs, has 20 plus goals. Imagine Kane with Chelsea and the chances we create. Thank you. This is what I was referencing.
Yeah.
This reminds me of when people were referencing the Lukaku movie. Go for Lukaku, go. Imagine where we are. If we're going to see it, if we're given this logic, that's not me saying I don't want Kane. I know Kane will be different. But this sounds more like what we were saying before we signed Lukaku, so it gives me PTSD, if that makes sense. But let's see. 150 million Kane at 30 and 150 million Osimhen. Come on, people. The choice is clear. Who's going to pay 150 million for Kane? I don't think we'll come even close to 70. If not, to heck with it, even if it's available. I don't think we'll pay that much money for him. But that's, by the way, let's get into the lineup building exercise. And if you're watching, people, if you haven't, please be sure to drop a like on the stream and also do subscribe to the channel. If you haven't, the likes do go a long way. And we're starting with a 3-4-2-1 structure because we're seeing, I think Tuchel prefers playing, Porter. As the game starts, you see it's more like a 2-1, not really a flat up front, a 3. That's, by the way, we'll also try to do the one with 4-2-3-1. It depends on how quickly we get this one done. If we don't finish, then we'll do a part 2 of it later in the evening. So let's go for it, DJ. Your thoughts?
Yeah.
The goalkeeper, this is for 23-24. What we have now, I think we say Kepa still keeps his place. I'm not sure if the manager will do otherwise.
Yeah.
I don't know. But your thoughts on the goalkeeping position?
Yeah, until we know what goalkeeper's coming in or what the situation is with Mendy, I probably would keep Kepa in goal. So he's like the only one unless we bring someone else in there.
We say Kepa here, and if you're in the chat, I want to get your thoughts. I think Kepa keeps his place. So I think the back three is where the argument comes in. So DJ, pick your back three here,
God,
and for each player, you say why. Yeah.
You put me on the spot.
Silva has extended, and he stays here for 23-24 season. But I don't think he's going to be. Remember, we're going to do the rotating player. We have to do the rotating player. But you go ahead. I want to get your thoughts on the back three and the reason for each player you pick.
I think for me, the left of the three has to be Badiashile. I think he's proved it already since he's come in. I think he's been excellent for us. I think when he's playing alongside Silva, we've hardly conceded any goals, and I think he looks more comfortable with Thiago Silva than he probably does with Koulibaly with him there. So I'd probably put Badiashile. I'm still going to go with Thiago Silva, despite what people want to say to me and probably will come at me.
Yeah, we'll still do the rotation. But he's not going to start. He's not going to be starting every game.
Not every game.
So we'll still do the rotating player. So go ahead.
I'll still put him in there because I think alongside Badiashile, I think they have that good connection already for me in that defence. And then on the right of that, I'll put Wesley Fofana. And I think again he's another one.
Right centre back.
Yeah, I think for me again when he's fully fit, we all know fully fit Fofana. He's a very effective player. And I think again alongside Silva and Badiashile, I think that will actually make a very good defence because again when he's played alongside Silva, he's looked very good as well. So, I think those three for me in terms of that.
Then we'll talk about the rotating players in a bit. Let's see what we have here. Kane is cherry on top. Unfortunately, with Potter, we're not there. Some argument from Dante, my bro. May God forbid I score 200 goals and over without a mug to show, let alone trophy. I would take Tone ahead of Kane. Maybe, and Tone will be cheaper, but I get your argument there, Oladipo. So Osimhen would be a good choice. Like I said, if we have Mourinho, I'd say bring me Osimhen. United need a striker, and majority of their fans want Osimhen ahead of Kane. That tells you a lot. So if you're now going to the lineup building exercise, anyone not on this team sheet should be open to sell. I think that that's the truth. I will better play without with the keeper than put Kepa in goal. Well, we'll
Oh God, I can understand why
we are going with the players we have right now. Excuse me. During the excuse me, please. Sorry.
You're right there, mate. You're right.
Yeah, I'm fine. It's just I'm not the cough isn't gone. The cold isn't gone properly. It at the stage where I cough a lot.
Oh God.
So if you're in the chat, your thoughts with the back line there, I want to get your thoughts. So, Bobby, if you're watching, here's the back three we selected. Remember, this is rotational. This doesn't mean that this starts any other. We've started with this, and then we'll put the rotating players. So, Bobby, if you're there, your thoughts on the back line so far, the back three so far. Says, again, I'll better play without a keeper than put Kepa there. Badi, Silva, Fofana, yep, we agree. And if you have other, we'll do a 4-3-3-2. So because I think Potter sometimes he does that, and sometimes I think he does. He does 4-1-4-1. Yep, he did that at Brighton. So we do multiple formation, but we're at a 3-4-2-1 right now. Let's see, that's possible without goalkeeper. Yeah, exactly. Now I get what you're saying. Actually, Osimhen would cost at least 115 million. Yep. Or let's say like if it doesn't bounce around 100 plus, but in euros around 140 plus. Very hard to make a deal with the Napoli president. Not easy. And if they win the Champions League, I think they do everything to keep Osimhen. And Osimhen will most likely stay if they win the Champions League. Napoli bought Osimhen for 80. Let that sink in. Yep. So they're not going to sell it for anything less. That's, by the way, Bobby, if you're there, your thoughts on the back three. And if you're DJ, okay, let's go ahead. The rotating player with Badiashile. We don't know whether that happens, whether Levi Colwell comes back. He's excellent at the in the left center back position. I don't know. So who's going to be the rotating player? Do you think it'd be Cucurella, or do you think I think Cucurella probably most likely will rotate with Chilwell in the left wing back position. So here, do you think we should go with Levi Colwell? Your thoughts?
You talking to me or Bobby? Sorry, Kachila.
No, Bobby isn't ready yet. Probably at work like it.
No, look, if we're doing a rotating player situation, then for me, I probably would put. I probably would put Levi Colwell if we're going to rotate with Badiashile, because then you've got Koulibaly you can rotate with Silva. So if need be, I'll probably use that in that. Any of those players can rotate, and then obviously you've got Chalobah who can rotate with Fofana as well. So all three of those players can be rotated. But if he's going to make that decision who to rotate, for me, it's probably going to end up being probably Silva, because we talked about his age. I can't see him starting every game, so it could possibly be Silva, and you could even put Levi Colwell in the middle, Kachila as well. I think he could do well in the middle as well in a back three.
Yeah, but I think he will most likely go leading the back line. I think he will most likely go for experience, and. That's what I think. But you go ahead with your. I'm listening to your argument there.
No, it's not. I think any of those three players can be rotated. As I said, Koulibaly comes in for Silva, Colville for Badiashile, and also Chalobah for Fofana. So for me, in that kind of like way, as I said, that's what my start of the season for next season will be those three players for the start of next season. Okay, that'll be. But then if you're going to rotate, then what I've said already, then it'll be Colville, Koulibaly and Chalobah who could come in if you need to change the three. So
here, I think centrally, most likely, I get it. Koulibaly, he hasn't been the most consistent. But if you call me anytime, any day, I'll give you a solid argument as to all the days he's had a bad game. Maybe because he's a player I love, but he's a very intelligent
player. He's a good player. Oh, very.
And he's shown that he's capable of leading the back line here. And all the times. Again, if you see him playing and overlapping, you see him. He operates Koulibaly here, but this is Silva now. Koulibaly here literally plays as a 6. You see him up here cleaning up after the 2 6s either to the right hand side or to the left hand side. That's because he reads the game so well, and the 2 6s as good as Kovacic. And Enzo Fernandez has been going forward offensively they've not been the best defensively. I'm going to keep
No.
repeating this until I see so many
I
people
agree.
understand what I mean.
I get what you're coming
Because
from.
we seem to only get the ball once the opponent get to the defense.
Yeah.
Or we get the ball on the flanks. They hardly do that for us. So that's why you see even Fofana going as deep as getting to this line where the 2-6s are to stop the opponent, because these 2-6s here, they're not the best in terms of defensively. And Graham Potter hasn't mixed it up well. He hasn't selected one traditional 6 or somebody who's somebody such as Zakaria or Kante who's capable of reading the game and breaking up position play. He selected 2 people who are offensively minded, if that makes sense. So I think Koulibaly will still be good as a rotating player for Silva for leadership, because the younger players there
as well,
they're still not there yet in terms of being solid without either of those 2 guys. But go ahead with what you're saying.
That is spot on. And I was going to say Koulibaly for lead. And the other thing we got to also take into consideration, Koulibaly and Thiago Silva. Okay, they are both. I mean, compared to Fofana and Badiashile, their long passes are very good. They've got very good passes from distance as well. That's what I like about Silva and Koulibaly, whereas the other 2 don't have that as yet in their game. So that's another reason why you'd have Silva or Koulibaly, because of their passes. They can pass to the front, any of the front 3, or any to the wingers. If they had, you know, back in the day when Frank Leboeuf used to do that long 60-yard pass from defence right to the wingers, and they used to go and cross the ball and score a goal. That's how Silva and Koulibaly play the same way. They hit those 60-yard passes that you need to get others to get the front 3 plays into play if they can't get into the midfield. So so for me, look, that's another reason why I'd have Koulibaly in there as well, and as I said, because of the experience as well, for sure. I would never sell him. I know there are some fans out there saying get rid of Koulibaly, which I completely disagree with. All right, I don't understand why fans are even calling for that. I'll keep him in the team for next season.
Here's the thing. In that game, he made one mistake, 2 mistakes you could call it, but that happens.
Silva's made mistakes as well.
Yeah, but again, we have to point fingers because he ended in a draw. Had we won that game, people were saying that the narrative would be, except for those 2 mistakes, he was excellent. To me, he should do better than that. But again, if you analyze that game, you question what he was doing on the right-hand side in the first place. You question why Chalobah, who was here, was still busy not trying to come towards this area to cover the space that the player has to do anything with. So to me, as long as he remains here, I think he will be the rotating player with Silva, and he's been excellent in the Champions League for us, actually.
Oh, definitely.
So let me catch up with what we have in the chat. We'll come back and continue. Bobby, whenever you want to come in, you come in and present your argument there. Napoli, I remember that. All these talks about Tuchel going to Spurs, don't care. I don't care either. They wouldn't do any better with him. Okay, if that's how you think, let just hope he doesn't go there. What did Tuchel do with the Chelsea squad when he was here? We played dire football, really. Okay.
Yeah, we won 3 trophies. We won 3 trophies, BK.
Yeah, even if we played that football, that's under a game. But that's your argument, and you are entitled to that, BK. So big up to you. It's difficult to make a deal with Napoli. I suppose it's easy to make a deal with Levy. Levy is even more difficult. Napoli money can buy, but Levy, I don't know how much Chelsea are going to pay for a player for them to sell to us. Napoli won't sell as they are going to be a top team in Italy. I think they want the most certainly. It's looking like they most certainly are going to win the Italian league right now. To bottle that, it would take some awful lengthy performances. But right now, we're into the lineup building exercise. If you have any argument with regards to the back 3 we've picked, you have to tell us why. Don't just say you prefer this player. Tell us why you prefer a certain player. Put the money Napoli want, they will sell. Well, that's the truth. Well, for what we know, Graham Potter is a Zakaria fund. I think it's beyond him, whether him being Zakaria fund or not. I've tried to explain this a billion times, and I don't know how else to explain it. The truth remains, Graham Potter, if we're going by the lettering, going by CMs, DMs, he prefers CMs. And Zakaria is more of a DM to me. Maybe that's how I understand that, than he is a CM. And plus, I don't know, Graham Potter, maybe the argument is just he's not fond of Zakaria, but Zakaria would provide great balance. and then you will see less and less of Koulibaly and Fofana going up here to go clean up after the 2-6. So you can say they haven't been excellent defensively, but they've been good to watch and delicious to watch again offensively, if that makes sense. But I think it's beyond him being fond of Zakaria. He sees Zakaria as a traditional DM, but I don't think he's really a traditional DM. He's more of box-to-box to me, given what I've seen of him and what I know of him. But let's move on beyond that. Okay, right wing back Enzo CM. For each player you select, let us know you want a particular player beyond the player was selected. So let's take it one by one. I love Silva, but one major injury and he's finished. It looks like we may need another quality CP. I think we're loaded in that area because Badiashile looks like he can actually slot in centrally. Fofana, I know, can slot in centrally, but they still don't have that experience. They're all still very young. If anything, I think actually Badiashile will most likely be the one to slot in perfectly centrally and lead the back line, but they need time. We're not going to be in a hurry. That back line is not going to switch up anytime soon, if that makes sense. Those were not mistakes. The team setup was wrong. Where Chalobah, I asked that question too. Ruben Lastusik, Reese, stop the hate on KK. I've tried to explain. And somebody would tell you, Rahayu would tell you, I will defend Koulibaly passionately. Can we offer them Lukaku?
Yeah, take him for Osimhen.
You mean Napoli?
Yeah, for Osimhen. Why not?
Yeah, but you still have to pay them a lot of money. They will minus a little bit of money before taking Lukaku. Yeah.
True as
They're
well.
not the ones
maybe.
to play with. Were you saying something?
No, it's true what you were just saying. I just listened to what the comment where your guy in the comment was saying. Shaq, big up to his comment. Yeah, I'd love him to use Lukaku to bring Osimhen in, mate. That would be an excellent move. But like you said, this guy, I forget his name at Napoli. He's a very hard man to. They call him the Italian. Yeah, they call him the Italian. Right? Yeah, they call him the Italian Daniel Levy. He's a Daniel Levy in Italy, and he's a very hard negotiator to negotiate, just like the guy at Leonis. So yeah, I mean, look, yeah, they've seen Lukaku in the Italian league this season, how he's been playing. So if he does like Lukaku, then maybe they can do some kind of deal and thrown in there. But like you said, very slim negotiations in terms of a price.
Yeah. and before time, again, I knew Inter were never going to buy Lukaku, but let's move on from that.
Definitely not. I knew that as well.
No, they were never going to buy him. They knew exactly what they were doing. They don't want him. They want the money.
Coachella, if Conte goes back there as manager, there's a possibility they may keep him there because he loves Lukaku, remember?
Who?
Conte. If Conte goes back as Inter Milan manager, there's a possibility that they could keep Lukaku there.
Yeah, possibly. But the current manager is doing well.
Yeah, there is that as well.
In the Champions League. Yeah, I know they're not doing that well in the league, but they're in the Champions League quarterfinal stage. That's not easy.
No, it's not. It's not.
It's not easy. Melo Gusto will start at right back. No, probably the rotational player there.
Yeah.
Let's see. The only time I can see Koulibaly play bad in a game is when he plays alongside Chalobah or when he plays on the right-hand side. I think Koulibaly is fine. He's a very intelligent player.
Yeah.
With Chelsea fans, the one moment somebody makes a mistake, you're the reason why we lost. And plus that goal, the second goal we considered, if he wasn't on the yellow already, I think he would have dropped that player there. He would have. But he's experienced enough to know if he does that, it's a second yellow and a red. Zakaria, it's a hiccup in the data. No. Oh my goodness. No data. GP likes an outlier. Maybe, since we're talking science. Big up everyone. Big up to you too, Matt. I hope you're doing well. If Potter says Zakaria as a DM, why he's not using him? Because he's not. That's why I argue he sees him as a DM. He doesn't like to use DMs. I don't know how else to explain that, but pay attention. You get to understand what I mean. So why Rice, who's a DM? Did you hear we're going for Rice? Those are just speculations. I want for next season, I agree we definitely need new goalkeeper. Enzo and Jude. Let's see what happens. Chile, Dumfries, and Nkunku. Who you mean, Madueke and Osimhen? Let's see what happens. Chris Noble, big up to you, brother. One day, Dalo, I hope you're doing well. Thank you so much for finding the time to join the show. Laughing out loud, I wouldn't call Lukaku. Lukaku, I would call him, and I'm not going to do that with you.
Oh, the nickname this guy
being
gets.
somewhat anti-Chelsea when he is supposedly just between between Thomas Tuchel tactics. I think he went anti-Chelsea really. I think he behaved in a childish manner, but that's the least of my concern. Unfortunately, Lukaku talk will always come up because it's the elephant in the room. Mudryk instead of Madueke. Let's see what the manager does. So DJ, let's go for the 2-6s. Definitely. Yeah,
Enzo definitely.
Enzo definitely. So I don't see it being a combo of Enzo and Kovacic again.
No.
Maybe two of them rotate. I think here will be Kante.
Kante definitely.
So the rotating players is where we have a problem now. Who will be the rotating players for the two?
Oh boy, this is a tough one. I think for the rotating play, it depends on who stays really. I mean, if we're going by the squad we have now, then you're probably looking. You've got several options there. I mean, you got Chukwuemeka, you've got Conor Gallagher, you've got Zakaria if he's still gonna. While we're still talking about this, is Zakaria if he's still there. You've got Loftus-Cheek. You've also got who else is in that midfield that can come in there? Obviously, no more Jorginho. I mean, they're the options we've really got. But who can you put? I mean, Lewis Hall can even go in there if need be as well. So rotating for me, that's a tough one. I'd probably say if Zakaria is still there, I'd probably say for me at the moment, and only because I can see him doing that, because I can't see him giving Chukwuemeka much of a chance, because I'm so gutted about it. I want to see this kid get more game time, which he's not getting. I can see the rotating two being, and the way he's going at the moment, it looks like it's probably going to be Loftus-Cheek and Gallagher, if we're going by what he's doing now. Because Zakaria is not getting a game on there. Chukwuemeka's hardly coming on when he needs to come on, but he seems to go with those. He seems to go with Gallagher and Loftus-Cheek. I mean, they wouldn't be my first two choices. So anyone in the comments that you're saying, why am I saying that? It's only because of what he's doing now. And unless we get a midfielder in next season, I'm going by what's going for the squad we're doing for the 23-24 season. I'm going by those players that we've currently got in the team at the moment. So Kante, Enzo, Cover be the other rotating player, Cover as well, and Gallagher.
Cover Gallagher for
Kante, isn't it? This is a tough one.
Okay, I'm coming. I'm going to ask you that again. Just give me 1 second. Potter needs to find a second formation to accommodate players in more traditional positions. I think that's a good argument. That's why 4-2-3-1 accommodates all the players we have, except for wing backs. For each formation structure he goes to, some players will be left out. If he goes with a farther back structure, but again, Chilwell will still do well as a left back. Rich James would do well as a right back. But yeah, people start complaining if we're not scoring goals that we have. We're stifling our most creative players, if that makes sense. Chelsea all the way says that mistake wasn't in Koulibaly. Chalobah was ball watching in Koulibaly and went over to rescue the situation, but then it gets blamed. A lot of people don't look at football that way. They just look at it at the surface level. All they saw was Koulibaly was flawed. To them, that's enough to say it was his fault. Everyone forgets our captain as usual. Who? Can you name his name? Who you're talking about? You're talking about Cover, Gallagher, ROC, Santos. Santos, I wouldn't consider at this point until there's clarity where he fits in this team. There's no clarity as to where he fits. Santos, let's see. It just depends on what youngster makes it a lot in that CM position. Yep. Cover is not a rotational player. He will probably land up somewhere like. But no, when we say rotation, we're saying a single. That is when we say. For instance, in the central area there in the back three, we're saying Koulibaly can start and Silva can start, if that makes sense. Then on the right hand side, we're saying Fofana can start and Chalobah can start. if that makes sense. On the left-hand side, we say Liver Caldwell can start and Badiashile can start. No single player can go, again, can play every game. You burn them out, and burnout is actually dangerous, if that makes sense. So we're not saying that means Enzo starts every game and Kova sits on the bench. No, it's a team game, like Bobby will always argue. We need the squad that does go a long way. We're using the term rotation. It doesn't mean Enzo will always be the one to start. No, sometimes Kova starts, and I think for me, I would rather rotate. That's how I see it. Rotate Enzo and a Kovacic rather than, I don't know. What do you think, DJ? For Kante, who's going to be the rotational player for Kante? We're not sure yet. I'm sure that's the case. But you go ahead with your you can come in.
No, for Enzo, for me, yeah, cover for Enzo in that kind of. But I mean, one player we just you just talked about just there, Coach Chilla, before you moved on there. Santos, you said you're not sure what's going. I'll be honest with you, Chilla. He's my worry. You know that. I'm really worried what's going to happen to this kid because I really hope he gets into this Chelsea setup at some point because this kid is such a talented player. I just want to see this kid going elsewhere and being wasted here, wasted there, not getting opportunity because I tell you what, he'll be snapped up in a heartbeat by the likes of a Tottenham, an Arsenal, a Man United, a Liverpool because this kid is that good, I think. A Man City even.
The length of his contract ensures that he's not going to leave anytime soon.
I know that, but in terms of like what's going to happen to him, in terms of like how many loans is a player going to get until he gets an opportunity? We all know at Chelsea how it used to work before. They go on so many loans, they hardly get into the first team after that. You know, the last thing we don't want to see him is he signed this big year contract, and hopefully he will get his chance in the Chelsea team. I really do. You know, because as I said, so from looking at him, what I've seen of him so far, and seeing him also play for his team in Brazil, he looks a talent, man. He looks a real big talent, and I'll hate to see that talent go anywhere.
He is indeed. So where do you? Here's the thing. Here's why I'm using the term. I'm not sure where he fits in this team because I don't quite understand.
I get what you mean, though. Yeah,
how he plays. I don't know how he plays that much. I've seen much of him, during his national team call-up, I didn't watch him for the Brazilian national team, senior team. I need to watch him more to understand where he fits, to make a solid argument as to where he fits in this team. That's just me being objective. I get it. He's a talent. I watched him during that under-20 competition, South American, and he was fine, but it's a different thing altogether when playing at this level.
I get that.
Maybe I need to go find his debut for the Brazilian national team and see, how he did for his first assignment. But I get it. It's a serious one. This is not going to be easy to find the rotational players. Kante comes in for balance, and to me, I think if Kante, if Enzo isn't playing, I think Kovacic can do that his job better. Because
definitely.
With this combo here, I think Kante will probably be charged to be the more disciplined of the two, while Enzo becomes, will have the license or the independence to be more adventurous and create more chances because he's a fine creator. And of the three players we've mentioned, Kovacic, Kante, Enzo will get you more goals and create more chances, except if Kovacic improves, because there's a chance that happens. He gets the way Graham Potter plays, he gets into the box more. And another thing is this: if we're being factual, we're not sure how Graham Potter is the combo he's gonna be choosing.
That's true as well.
Yeah, let me catch up with the chat and bring in Potter's lawyer before we get.
Oh, he's here. Big up. Oh, he's here.
Yeah,
big up. Tim. Big up.
Hola.
Yeah.
How are you, mate?
Me no Spanish. I've explained we're not picking again. The way it is right now doesn't mean one player starts over the other. It just means these two players, either of the two can start there. Chalobah on his day can play in the right centre back position, and he was one of our best defenders before the World Cup. What happened during the duration of the World Cup? Well, Coachella doesn't know, but we'll find out. How Zakaria is not better game. It's not getting game time. It's beyond me. Potter out. Well, I don't know. Let's see what we have here. Cover being a rotational player his whole career. And that's a solid argument too. At Madrid, at Chelsea, but that doesn't mean he's not a starter. One player starts maybe next game another player starts. So that way you keep him more fit and don't burn a single player out. Zakaria is going back to Juventus. we're not going to get him. It doesn't look like we're interested. Bonnie in Nevada, nice to see you, brother. I hope you're doing well. Now I sound like a rapper there. Bonnie in Nevada, nice to see you, brother. I like that. Okay, I'll write that down somewhere. Gallagher for Kante. Can you elaborate why you want Gallagher to start over Kante? Here's the thing: if Gallagher will eventually become a good number 6, no matter how you see it, even if it's a hybrid of 8 and 6. Sorry for all the stuff you're saying on the screen. I think the old system isn't processing this really well. If Gallagher will eventually become a number 6 and become good at it, maybe not now. He's too much in a hurry to do stuff, and he seemed a bit confused. If anything, whenever he comes on, he's not Mykhailo, as Glenn said. Whenever he comes on, he creates more confusion. He's effective to a certain measure, but we lack coordination whenever he comes on. So he needs time. I think he's a good player, but he hasn't adapted to that role. And if we're going to be playing with a 4-2-3-1, I'd rather see Gallagher play as one of the 2-8s. He's played there before, and he did well when that happened. So I don't think it makes sense to start playing him deep. We're going to suffer even more defensively because already the people we have, they're not doing good defensively, if that makes sense. What do we have here? Just having a conversation. GP doesn't know how to use good players. Wow, some argument there. Okay, let's see. Even if Porto wants to protect a 1-0 lead by playing a 3-6-1, Zakaria should be on the pitch ahead of Gallagher. Yep, because defensively he'd offer more. But I'm not sure. Maybe he sees it from a different perspective. Maybe Gallagher's running to get the players quicker than Zakaria would do. But Zakaria has proven to be one of the quickest players in the Premier League. And Chukwuemeka, it's really embarrassing. Okay, some argument there. Let's see what else we have here. Well, that this whole career, even here, Kante and Georgie first choices. Yeah, solid argument right there. Santos has the tools to be a really good player. 8 and 6, a hybrid of 8 and 6, just like the Kovacic role. But I need to see more to be, you could say, certain where he fits in. I know he's a fine player, he's a talent, but where he fits in, I cannot argue. But if we can argue he's a 6, we could do that. Managers are scared to give young players a chance, especially at Chelsea, where you need to, again, show you need to win something or you lose your job. Because today is impressive young player. I don't know, like Bobby explained, that he has a program that he has to follow, given his development at Chelsea. But he's doing well at Wigan right now. And he scored an excellent goal for them too, trademark goal from outside the box. Correct me if I'm wrong. We paid 15 million for Kasede. What does coach or panelists think of Kasede fitting into this team? I actually didn't want him to go out on loan because I watched him more. I think he's a fine player. But like Bobby explained, there's a program set for him to follow before he graduates into the first team. The good thing is that he's getting game time now at Wigan. Correct me if I'm wrong. That he's at Wigan, right? He has to learn the language and plus all the process in that define other aspects that define the program in question. 2-3 of these Enzo Kante covers is all this rest. All the rest can wait in the line. Yeah, after that. Okay, let's see what else we have here. And I doubt Kante can start more than 40% of games. Yeah. Gallagher backup for Kante for now. Okay, let's see. Maybe we use a poll. Kachila, big up to you too, Nevada, my bro. I hope you're doing well. We would like Liverpool to buy Zakaria and how we have wasted him at Chelsea. Well, unfortunately, it hasn't worked out. Zakaria is injury prone, guys, and I wouldn't have advised the club to buy him, actually. He's played with us and he's been injured how many times already? So you think about that before you blame the club. This is why we will not get him. Kasede needs 2 to 3 years on loan. Gallagher should not be in a pivot. I don't think he should be there. It creates more confusion. Would like Liverpool to buy Zakaria. I've read that one too. Santos played the 6 with Brazil. If you watch them, okay, let's see. Kudio Kone would be a good pickup. But do you think Chelsea will sign more players in that area? I don't think so, because following the plan, we actually really did our best to get what's his name, Santos a work permit, so he stays with the group, but that didn't work. So chances are by the end of the season, I think he comes back. And we had issue with the club. I think Palmeiras, where he wanted to go out on loan, we wanted to call him back as soon as the summer, the season ends. So join preseason, and they wanted to stay beyond that. I think that was the reason why he didn't stay. Man said Zakaria is injury prone. What about Chilwell, James, Kante, Kovacic, Pulisic? If we're measuring, let's say all those guys, all those players you've mentioned are all injury prone, then Zakaria is their chief because he didn't start today. He started from Germany, then Juventus. If that makes sense to you. Thoughts on Kolo Muani? DJ, you want to comment on that before I bring Roger in? Your thoughts?
Is he linked? Is he linked? This is another player linked with us, is he?
I don't think he's linked with us. I think he's a fine player, but I
think he's
I'm not sure. I don't know him that well, really.
I don't think,
yeah.
You're gone. I've not too much on, but I don't know what I mean. I know more of the other guy, Kone. More of is it the same guy?
No, Moani is
not the same guy. No, I know more on. I know more on Kone than this guy. I've not seen much of him to make a comment on him. I also know more about Kudas as well. Kudas at Ajax.
Mohamed Kudas.
Yeah, but this guy, who is this guy? Is this somebody else?
I honestly don't know him that much, and I don't like debating or talking about players when I don't. Let's just move on from him if you don't know him.
Sorry, I don't.
Lewis Hall next season should go out on loan. Big up the China. Big up to you too, Bobby. Kuchula is right. We hear people say Santos is a DM, but then he ends up being joining top scorers in the youth tournament. We don't know where he plays. I don't have clarity as to where he's going to fit in this team. To get more game time, I get your argument. Santos in South America may be different in England, meaning good South American may be bad in England. Good argument. Jelsin Belgrave, nice to see you, brother. I hope you're doing well. People keep dropping the likes on the stream. We have 58 likes. Let's get it to at least 60 and more, 100 before the show ends. And if you haven't, please do subscribe to the channel. Kolomoani is not good enough. French striker.
Thank you.
His finishing, I hear I think I hear what's his name? Somebody questioning his finishing, but he has good feet, really. If the ambition is to stay in top 10, I can say Chicks and Gallagher in the team. But if we want silverware on the season, then neither of these players. Okay, some argument. Let me go one more again. Brett Kolomoani bottled last second winner against Argentina. Badiashile has been called up by France. Probably to replace Wesley Fofana. He's a fine player. Eddie for love, my bro. Thank you so much for finding the time to join the show. Pacey all-round French strikers play at
French under 21s, coach.
Sorry?
French under 21s, Badiashile.
Oh, was that the color for Badiashile?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Thank you for saying that. Okay, Moani is the one who missed the big chance at the end of this. How are you going to judge a player for one game? Then, if people are doing this from Moani, if that's the case, as much as I don't know him that much, I'm not going to judge him that much. If you're judging him by that, then I want people to remember how badly, what's his name, Vadio played against Man City. We shouldn't be paying anything close to 17 million for him. If that's the case, I want to see the same energy. Moani, the one who missed the big chance at the end of the World Cup final, missed equal to save. You have to elaborate. You're speaking in codes there. Big up to you too, Panda. I hope you're doing well. But Mr. Polito Way, much love to you, brother. I hope you're doing well. Let's see what we have. Just the other way. Can the panel tell me what Gallagher is going to please? I'm not going to get started. Maybe Bobby will be the one to tell it. Like I said, I wouldn't see him. I don't want to see him play as a 6. I want to see him play as an 8. He can get you goals. He can also, again, good person is important also to the way we play. I think Gallagher isn't a bad player, but playing him everywhere doesn't help him as a young player. If anything, he gets confused. Like we've seen the way he runs around, it just seems as if he's confused, really. It's not Mykhailo. You don't bring him on to see up the game, but we don't know whether that was the manager's intent, actually. because he was adventurous. So there's a solid argument he may well have brought him on to do something else, not to see up the game. But that's, by the way, let me start with you, Bobby, since we're on the panel before your gang member, Roger, joined. But if you want to give him...
Sorry, I'm in and out quite a bit today, please. Even as it
Okay,
stands.
so the back three there on the screen. What are your thoughts? Yeah. The back three and the rotational players who selected.
Who are the back three?
We have starting Badiashile, left centre back, centrally Thiago Silva, on the right hand side Wesley Fofana. Rotational player for with Wesley Fofana is Chalobah. Rotational for Silva is Koulibaly. Rotational for Badiashile is Levi Colwell.
Perfect. Can I make a comment about Gallagher?
Yeah, go ahead. I knew you were gonna want to say that. Go ahead.
You know how much I like Gallagher. Gallagher. I understand he doesn't have the best of technical giftings, but his application, his love for the club, his endeavor is something I think the club not only needs but can work with. And of course, by accident of birth, being an English player, and not only that, a homegrown Chelsea player, that adds some requirement to our team. Now, people talk about players playing here, there, and everywhere. Yes, that is true. Some players have to do that. And that is also exacerbated when you have different managers coming in and out. Hence, why Mason Mount was used everywhere and people used him because of his endeavor rather than develop him. He went through Lampard, the same thing. He went through Tuchel, the same thing. And he's in a bit of a burnout period with Potter. I don't want to get into all the issues about his contract, but he's just right now. But, he's that type of player. Now, you and I often have a bit of to and fro about playing Gallagher as a six. You see, the difference that we tend to have is that you look very much as to the needs of the individual player, which is fine. It's good. But unfortunately, at this level, it's not so much about the individual player, but about the club. The players are put through the youth system and developed for the club. And those players are employed by the club to play for the club. So wherever it is the club wants them to play, in principle, that's where they will play. Their contract doesn't say, oh, I have to play as a number 9, believe it or not, even if you come in with the idea to be a striker. Hence, the greatest example of a converted player that we've had in our club was the. Oh, hold on, I'll have to get back to you.
All right, just quickly, Roger. I'll let you speak from here. I don't like it. That's why I've been keeping you waiting. Colin Moani is around a 100 million player. United want him. Everyone is just wants to see him. It's on the Simeon Silva. We cannot keep average players. Excuse me, sorry. We need ballers. Thank you, brother. Ballers at every position. And Berger says that don't slip on Ivan Toney. There's a chance the club going for him. Rumors are that we're interested in him. So thank you for mentioning that. Gallagher is a running machine. One all-time trials, fitness, etc. We need English homegrown players. He is just a squad player. Nothing more, still very young, can get better. That's where I come. I agree he can get better. And I'm not into, again, I like players being able to play multiple positions. But for a young player, you need to start with a particular position, master that position. Then you can diversify, try other positions. As much as being a utility player makes you can say, an indispensable tool in the hands of the manager. It can also be detrimental to your development because you're everywhere. And Gallagher, for me, if you play him as an 8, I think he will be excellent for us. He can be that Mason Mount, especially if Mount leaves. We don't need a Mount replacement. We have Gallagher. His pressing is good, and as an 8, he can create chances. I know he's not the most technically gifted. He can also get you goals. But my argument is that he shouldn't be starting deep. If he starts deep, sorry, guys. We have a serious problem because he can't read the game. Roger, over to you. Maybe because I'm coughing, so let me just let you speak.
Hey, hello, gentlemen. How are you?
Hey,
Big up to
Roger,
you,
how are you,
brother.
mate?
Much
You all
love,
right?
brother.
Absolute,
We miss
absolute
you,
pleasure.
but your health is more important, brother.
Yeah, it's been a rough week, but
Yeah.
I'm kicking, as they say. Listen, I agree with shockingly everything that Bobby just stated. To the word. I mean, the one thing, it's like you have to remember Gallagher's only 23 years old and 1 month. He just turned 23. Have a look at his maturity. He just, in his last game, he recognized danger, dropped back to goal line and made a goal line stoppage also. Don't forget. That showed a level of maturity of someone far older than himself. So he he's so young. He's about 3 years away from entering his peak. So it's too premature to judge him. Is he an elite player? No. Let's not be foolish. But I think, and as Bobby has said many a time, we need depth. You know, not every player can play in every game. Enzo cannot start in every game. Period. He will burn out. He will be like Kante of 2 to 3 years ago. Especially Kante needs to be used judiciously from now on. He really does. I need to ask a question. I'm not sure what's. By the way,
Roger, by the way, this is Jesse asking how you're doing.
Hey, JC.
Yeah.
How do you do, sir? Benfica. I watched a great documentary on Benfica about a week ago. You know, their players, their youth players, they're taught to play 2 to 3 positions at a high level. Just to let you know. So most youths now aren't just say, okay, you're a number 7, you're only going to play a number 7. No, you have a look at the youth teams now, especially the elite. Like Benfica's got one of the best youth academies in the world, or at least in Europe. And guess what? Their players play a minimum of 2 to 3 positions at a very high level, basically equally. So that's a good thing. These are the ones that succeed to go on to the first team and so forth. And that's one of the criteria for their syllabus, so their football syllabus, so to speak. I thought that was very interesting. I can't remember what the documentary is called. I recommend everyone watch it. It was on YouTube.
Just share the link when you get it.
Yeah. I've watched it about a week ago. I'll find it and send it. So listen, I agree with everything. The only thing I see Koulibaly starting more than Silva next year. I don't mean to sound ageist, but based on his age. That's the only thing, because we should be using him judiciously also. You know, don't get me wrong. I'm not slighting Silva. I think he's probably one of our top 2 or 3 best players, regardless of position. But I see Koulibaly starting more games than him. That's just my opinion. And when it comes to goalkeepers, I would like Kepa. I know I'm in the minority here, but if we were to get someone,
your Kepa's lawyer too. Go ahead.
Yeah, I like him a lot. But I would like the Frenchman from Leeds, Messier. I like him a lot. He's like 6'6". He's a house of a man. He's a beast. I think he would be at least a good number 2 or a starting keeper. But everything else you've said. So my question is, what is the status of Zakaria? If you had to give 100%, in percentages, what are the percentages of us keeping him?
Very likely going back to Juventus.
0.5.
Oh, come on!
If you remember, Roger, even before we got to this level, that's my opinion. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I know.
Even if you remember, even before we got where we are today with Zakaria, we've always talked about him on the panel, saying the club may decide against buying him on a permanent, because he hasn't stayed fit even for us.
Yeah,
he's had fitness issues even when he's fit. I think Graham Potter said something to the effect of he's not fully fit, even when you expect him to be fully fit. Yeah. So something isn't quite right.
You know what? He had that major knee surgery in Germany. Remember?
Yeah.
I think it was Germany before he moved to Italy, and he's never been the same. Listen, I've had major surgery several times, and the fine athlete that I am, of course, cough cough. that your body it just doesn't change. You
Honestly,
know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's never the same. It changes. It's
Yeah.
I get it, and a knee is an integral part of
It is.
someone for running.
Yeah.
From what I've seen of him, which is not a very large sample size, I really like him, Coach.
Yeah.
I really want to keep him. But you don't think, neither of you think we're keeping him?
No,
I
think I would like him to stay at Chelsea. As I say, I do rate him, but like just I think personally, I think he's going to go because of the injuries. And from what I'm understanding, and I heard that Liverpool are now looking at getting him permanently there next season. So it looks like whatever happens to him, it looks like he's going to still stay in the Prem, but it might not be with Chelsea. It's more than likely going to be Liverpool.
Well, honestly, I hope that post international break he gets to start and is fully fit and stays fully fit. Because to be honest with you, I rate him quite highly. I'm impressed with what I've seen thus far from him.
He's been brilliant so far since
he's been excellent. He's got size.
Yeah, in all the games he's played.
Yeah, he's
even scored. He even scored for us, mate.
And again, Roger, beyond that, the fact is he came with a fitness issue, and he's been injured like 3 times now.
Yeah.
Right? So that's a huge problem for the club. I get it, he's come so cheap, but I don't think even considering keeping him as a squad player, I don't think the club would do that. As long as Graham Potter, who's also the manager, doesn't look like he fancies him that much.
It's a shame.
Let's see what clubs, plus Santos comes back, most likely. Plus what I'm seeing, I don't think Chelsea plans sending out Santos on loan because they worked so hard to get him a work permit and then he ended up not working. And when Palmeiras came for him, the killer for the deal was that Chelsea wanted to pick him up once the season is done for him to be part of next season. They wanted to keep him beyond that.
Have you seen the highlights of Santos playing in the South American Cup he recently played in?
No, I haven't. But I watched most of those games.
Listen, he's a man playing amongst boys.
Yeah, I was going to say.
He really is.
So the question now is, how does he play amongst men?
Right, how does it translate to his peers?
Yeah.
Because he doesn't have a body of an 18-year-old or 20-year-old. Do you understand? He's literally a man.
He's a big kid.
Yeah, and not just that. It's everything about him. His technicality. He looks so advanced for his age in all aspects of his game.
And he's got a shot on him. And not only has he got a shot on him, Kuchela and Roger, you've been watching him as well. The guy can take on plays. He can dodge and score goals as well from that midfield. It's not just about him holding and staying there. The guy can actually go at the ball, dodge and score goals. He scores some spectacular goals as well. Have you been watching him, Roger?
He does get it.
He does score some, and he's good with his head as well. And he's good with his head. Such a young age.
Nancy Brianna says, am I the only one on the Murphy train? I think the Nigerian kid you've been mentioning, maybe just you. I don't know him that much. Maybe if anybody else knows him, you can talk about him. Training for the ballet, Potter. Let's see. I saw that picture. People are picking up all sorts of pictures of where the man is having fun, trying to make fun of him. Sad that Java is not joining Chelsea. Let's see. I don't know who that is. Maybe you're calling somebody's nickname. I am with you, Roger, on Kepa Arrizabalaga. Wow.
Checks in the mail, mate.
Tracy, I thought you were on my gang. You've joined the Roger gang. But that's yeah.
So Kepa is the one area I think me and Roger might diverge a little bit.
Yeah, same a little bit, Roger, as well.
Yeah, he's
to me.
But until he leaves, it starts.
However, since I'm in and out, I haven't finished my bit on Gallagher, but I'll
go for it. We'll be gone for it.
I mean, I've heard so many sort of other things now. I mean, this Santos guy, you see, this is why the summer pre-season is very, very important.
Yes.
We already have 3 new players. We've got Santos. Hopefully, work permit would have been cleared. We've got Nkunku and we've got Malagusto. That is already amazing, and probably a 4th maybe if we can tie down Joao Felix. Look, there's a lot to be happy about. There's not that much dealings to do in the summer. I know we need a striker. Maybe, depending on how well Santos does. Sorry, we may not need more than one midfielder. I always said we needed two, but if Santos is able to play there, then we will only need one, and that is more of a defensive expert, and of course a striker, and of course a goalkeeper. Hang on, I've got to come back. Hang on.
Sure.
Cool, Bobby.
So here's the thing. Just
You
let me
know
cut
what
that.
else?
Bali.
Do you know what else?
Yeah,
though?
go ahead, Roger.
I also really like Hall. I don't think we should.
Lewis Hall.
No,
definitely.
I know he's probably going to go out on loan, but
Yeah.
from what we've seen thus far, he looks like the real deal.
Yeah. I
You know?
got wrong on that one.
I like him. He should be kept. It's a shame we can't have for the sub or for the rotational players. It's a shame we don't have a third option for each one, because there's obviously going to be more. There's going to be Enzo Kovacic, maybe Gallagher there, Kante, Zakaria, Hall. You know, there's multiple. But yeah, it's
during this regime, Roger. I don't think Hall goes out on loan.
You don't think so?
No, I don't think so. I think he hasn't played that much under Graham Potter. Is that during those games where we expect to see him, he's usually playing with the youth team. With the youth, that's the only thing that's been keeping him away from the first team.
Yeah,
I think he stays.
And I tell you another thing, guys,
because he fits the profile again of player that this we want a majority of the players that the owners want for this project in question. But go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, and Pep's a massive admirer of Lewis Hall, by the way. I think he was talking about when we played him after Man City's game.
Oh yeah.
When he did his little talk afterwards, he kept on talking about him. And when he starts talking about a player, oh my God! I'm not saying we're going to. Yeah, he was, and I'm not saying he's going to go there. But when Pep starts looking at players and has an eye on certain things, he's trying to take Ben Chilwell off us. And apparently, he's basically trying to say with the situation with Lewis Hall, he's hoping they might be able to get this Ben Chilwell deal done. But I don't know that's either meaning, if you either don't get me Ben Chilwell, I'll come in for Lewis Hall, because I think that's how much he rates him. I'm not saying he's going to get him, but he's a big admirer of his. Let's put it that way.
High praise.
So here's the Roger. The problem with these kids these days, I get it. They love the club, but they want to see a clear path. And in the case of Lewis Hall, I think he signed a new contract, right?
Yes, I think so.
Yes, he did.
So that's the only reason why, because he's extended. Is the only reason why, if the club decides to send him out on loan, they won't have too much problem. But I don't think they send Lewis Hall out on loan. He makes up the homegrown quota. Plus, he's a really good player. Of all the homegrown quotas, actually, I rate him better than Gallagher. Gallagher is just more experienced.
Sure.
I'll be honest.
No, I get it.
I paid attention to him, even from the day he played under Thomas Tuchel to the day he played in the left-wing back position and was able to help overload the midfield. He was finding excellent passes and was making late runs into the box, had opportunity to score actually 2 goals in one game, or actually 3 goals.
Dribbling past people.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you, Roger, for saying that. You'd have 3 players on him. He still sets his mind in progressing the ball. You can't force him. You don't force Lewis Hall to turn back and pass the ball backwards or sideways.
Exactly.
If he's trying to progress the ball and you have 3 players in him, he finds a good solution in tight spaces. So I think we know that. I think Graham Potter knows that. And plus all the times that we've expected to see him on the bench, that he wasn't at least on the bench, he was, again, busy with the youth team assignment. I think we're going to keep him. It will be a huge risk. If that happens... Go ahead.
He's got the talent, but also he's got the confidence, the mindset to even take on players.
Yep.
You know what they say, the youth, when they have young players, they're not scared, and that's a good thing, but it also could be detrimental. But in his case, it's definitely, because a lot of times young players, they're too scared to take on players, or the mindset is because they don't want to. You make one mistake and you may not see the field again for a long time. But this guy, he exudes self-confidence in the way in which he plays.
But you know what, Roger? I tell you what, that takes, when players are scared to take on players, if that is in their nature to do that, and they do one mistake, and they do a mistake, and then the manager drops them for that, that takes a lot out of their game, because that is part of who the game is all about. And I tell you another player, and Constantine's mentioned him in the comment. A big up to Constantine Dancer, by the way. Chukwuemeka. This kid can take on players as well. I've seen he did it for Villa and he hit the post once when he scored. In fact, he did it for Villa and scored a brilliant goal, I should say.
And this kid haven't gotten the chance.
He's just not at Chelsea. Do you know that? And again, he can do the same thing. He can take on a player and he's got a good shot on him, but he seems to be holding back every time he comes into the field. When he does get a chance, he doesn't even want to shoot anymore. His thing is now to pass the ball. But we all know, we've watched Chukwuemeka, this guy's got a shot on him and he can score some goals.
And every time he comes on the field, he's electric.
He is, 100%.
The crowd, you can feel the electricity. You can see what he's doing. And you can see the defensive players starting to back up. I like this formation, but there's so many players that we have that do not fit in this formation. Like a Amari Hutchinson.
To be specific, the wingers have an issue here.
Yeah. This is the thing, and this is why it'd be so good if we do alternate, between formations occasionally. I think we. But you
know where that becomes a problem. Graham Potter played predominantly with a back three structure at Brighton.
Yeah,
so the chances are,
which is not bad. It's if it could be like, let's say 70-30. But because you need rotation, we should not be flogging a dead horse on each player that's good, because you're just shortening their lifespan in their career-wise. So we do need, and that's the one thing. Did we all not agree when Potter came here initially first? We're like, wow, he adds dimensions to our team because of the fact he's flexible. Okay, maybe he's done it to the detriment of the team, however, where he's chopped and changed too much. So there has to be a happy medium, right? Assuming he starts next year as the manager / head coach, assuming. But I just feel the only thing I don't like is the fact a lot of our attacking people going forward, there are too many square pegs in round holes. That's the only thing that it's the only thing. A 4-2-3-1. Listen, coach, I know what you're going to say is like, I'm not saying it for you, but if you look at our squad, a 4-2-3-1 suits these players more than any other formation, in my opinion. Even a 4-3-3, but definitely a 4-2-3-1. It suits us because and listen, I'm going to say something. If you look at our back line, it's good enough to play with a 4, with one caveat that Kante is starting. I think when we play a back 4, Kante has to be in the midfield. Otherwise, don't play a back 4. That's my opinion.
So Roger, let me catch up with the chat and ask you a question. Who rotates Kante when I come back? Bali should be talking to Chilwell about new contract. Let him reach 200K. He deserves it. I think they do that. I think they keep him, except if they decide they're going to bring back Martin and let Chilwell go, which wouldn't make any sort of sense. I think one of the players have to go, because Martin, he's not going to extend if he doesn't see a path to the first team as soon as possible. At least that's what I think. Plus, Pep has access to Ian Martin, given that the current coach of who Martin plays under, Vincent Kompany, is his former player. I'm sure they still talk. So maybe, like I think I've said this before.
No, they don't have to go.
Sorry.
Because you got people like Gallagher can play in the number 8. Ruben Loftus-Cheek can play in the number 8. You need this depth, sir. This is what Bobby.
We need the depth, but the player would want to stay. I get your argument.
Yeah, if we're going to be a big team, which we have been for the last 20 years, we need this depth. Look what's happened to us this year. We've been hit so bloody hard. We basically lost the starting 11. And can you imagine if we didn't have this depth? Can you imagine if we didn't have Ruben Loftus-Cheek this year?
Yep.
And let me explain, Bobby. Here's what I was explaining, Roger, here. In the case of Martin, his contract is winding down. So I'm saying maybe it was a strategy for Pep to put it out there, or Manchester to put out there that they're interested in signing Ben Chilwell. So now, that's just a theory. That's how I like to look at things beyond the surface. Then now they will force Chelsea to give Chilwell another contract, and then for Maatsen, there's no pathway coming back to Chelsea. So he probably decided,
we've had this discussion. Ben Chilwell has 2.5 years left on his contract. There's no need.
But this is the time to give him a new contract. That will be Bobby. We've been there saying the player has 2.5 or 2.5, then boom, it's 2 years before you know it's 1. I don't think they want to risk that. Now, look at, we have how many players? About 5 players that has just about a year left on their contract. So now is the time to negotiate a new contract. But go ahead with what you were saying.
Well, in the summer, there's going to be a lot of contract negotiations, of which Ben Chilwell is not high priority. Yes, it's coming quickly, but there's still a little bit of time. And within that time, a decision can be made about Maatsen. Is he good enough? Is he what we need? Is he what we want? Or is there money to be made on him? So a lot of this is agents trying to panic the club, and of course the fan base pick up the panic. And at the moment, we're in a fan base that loves any kind of tension or criticism or so for the club. I don't think that's really as big a problem as it would appear.
All right, just let me catch up what we have to chat. Roger, I want to get your rotational player. Are we talking about players who would take Chelsea to the top or stay 10th and below? What is all this Gallagher stuff? If you don't like Gallagher, that's your opinion. Bobby loves Gallagher, and he feels like Gallagher has a place in the number 6 position. And Roger does, and I think he's a good player, but I don't think he's a deep line midfielder. We're all entitled to our opinion.
He's not an elite player. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
he's not
he
a Ballon d'Or in the team. He's not a Ballon d'Or nominee.
Yeah, exactly. He has a role in the team. It's as simple as that.
You need squad players. Not everyone can be a Messi. It's that simple. You need bloody.
And they're not arguing that Gallagher should be the first name on the team sheet, if that makes sense.
No, of course not.
So but I get where you're coming from. Lewis Hall and Casadei should have a loan and come back to replace Kova and Kante. I don't think loan isn't meant for everybody, but it depends on what the club wants to do. Let's see. I think the Twitter toxicity is affecting the young players' fearlessness. They got to stay off of it. Yeah. Maybe it's a solid argument. Football change. Forget classic DMF. Argentina win World Cup without classic DMF. Okay. Guys, you're saying Chukwuemeka, Chukwuemeka that. Can someone tell me why Potter isn't playing him? I don't know.
Because we're playing a back 3.
And possibly because we're playing a back 3, there's no space for him. Yeah. And even with the back 3, I think Chukwuemeka still have a place. It depends on the structure up front, because he can play as one of the 2 8s. What I'm not sure, from little I've seen, I think he can play as an 8. I'm not sure he's capable of fulfilling the hybrid of 8 and 6, since we usually like to mix it up. But that hasn't. I don't think we actually have that role of hybrid of 8 and 6 on the ground, Potter. I think what we have is the CMs, essentially.
Coach, for players number 9 and 10, you have people. Look, I'm going to read the list out: Madueke, Mudryk, Joao Felix, Pulisic, Kai Havertz, Sterling, Mount, Chukwuemeka, Gallagher, Loftus-Cheek. They can all play in those 2 positions effectively.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah, that's the truth. It says, but Graham Potter isn't a 4-2-3-1 coach. Yeah, predominantly a 3 at the back structure. I think going back, but he did mix it up. It wasn't like at Brighton, he played like 70% of the times with a 3 at the back system. No, I think it's nearly balanced, actually. He mixes it up. I've seen 4-1-4-1. I've seen a 3-4-2-1, 3-4-1-2. There's one he actually registers something 1-1. Go check it. But I get where you're coming. Oh yeah, Eugene came back with another name, and I think I know it's him given his avatar. But as long as he behaves himself, that's fine by me. Randall, go ahead. Sorry, were you saying something?
Yeah, sorry for interjecting. Potter's been here for 29 games. He's played with a back 3 15 times, a back 4 14 times. So it's pretty 50-50.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, I remember you talking about that. So good memory you recalled. Ronald Kolomoami, we're talking about with the players we have right now. Until when we get to summer, if we sign new players, then we'll adjust the lineup. We're not just picking players and saying, no, we're working with what we have. We know Nkunku is coming, so he's going to be part of it. More complete players, more benefits, football change. I think that's the truth. So that aligns with the argument of Bobby and Roger saying the player should be able to play in one position. But yeah, that makes sense. Maybe I should start rethinking my theory of a player playing in multiple position but not played one constantly can be detrimental to their development. Young players, Carney, Chicks, and Gallagher all are question marks. They won't go up if they are stuck here fighting for minutes, trying to impress Potter. Boy, they need to explore and go out on loan. Maybe new modern football with more unpredictable players. That's the truth. Santos will be a big part of this club. He has the skills, the passion, and the leadership capabilities. And the club wanted to keep him. I've said that already. Mourinho had depth during his Chelsea success, so we need that. It's important. Yep. And Belgrade move on to wing backs. Wing back picks themselves. Yeah, they do pick themselves, really, given what we had. Get that fraud Potter out, Minerals. I'm guessing. Objection indeed. But objection overruled this time. I think this Mineral Mount guy, that shows you where he's from. He's again a staunch Mount supporter. Probably isn't happy the Mount isn't getting time. Gallagher have no place at Chelsea level. Some people think that. I think the club can still make use of him. You have low standards for club with Gallagher in squad. Okay. Give Mount 300K and make him our next captain. Wow.
Whoa. That's cheap.
Yeah. Some strong argument, Minerals Mount.
300,000 a month, yeah?
Yeah. It's up to the club, which were up to us. Panel needs to be more objective and stop handing out sentiments. Potter really has us discussing Gallagher and Carney. This is a new level of low. Standards are on the ground. Ooh. A lot of people are attacking the panelists this time, not just the Blue Tuffer game. He didn't sign them, okay, but he rates them with that's the problem. Kachila, I like Gallagher more than what you think. What I'm saying, we need elite players to go back to the top. We need to mix it up. That's just that. And I think the panelists are all saying the same thing. We need squad depth. We need a player like him also. And given that we need homegrown Potter, he makes up that number and he can do good enough for us. But to me, where I think he has a place in this team is an 8, where he can get you goals, we can do a lot of pressing, especially under Graham Potter. Carney doesn't play. How does he rate him? Carney doesn't. Yeah, okay, yeah, we've read that one. Blue Family, how are you all doing? We're doing well. How about you? Misha, all this back. Jaite, I hope you're doing well. I hope work is going well. Potter put that player in game and give them a chance to make it easy to sell them in the summer. I think we still have a lot to play for right now, but I get your argument. Give them game time. Yep, they showcase what they're capable of doing, then see how much we can get from them. Making Mount captain after Chile and Havertz. You don't count Chile. You don't count Chile. Didn't we have Mount in the squad before we signed Chilwell? Yeah. Yeah, so it wouldn't make sense to give it to Chilwell, really. Yep. I get that. Opposition scared Potter, you wish. Yep. So coming to you, Roger, who rotates with Kante?
Well, obviously, I would like to say Zakaria, but obviously, if you chaps think that he's not going to be there, do we include him in this equation? That's my question.
Okay, let's go to the wing backs because this one is going to need a lot of debate. And I don't think we're able to finish now.
It could be Zakaria, it could be Ruben, it could be Gallagher, it could be Casadira, it could be Santos, it could be Father Christmas. Who knows?
We're not sure what's going to happen. This is a difficult one.
He's technical, mate.
Yeah. It's not that simple, and we're not into just plugging names. But this one, we can say Cucurella here.
I dare you.
He's technical. He's technical, buff.
Yeah, excellent. So Cucurella as a rotational player for Chua, that makes sense. So we're going to leave this one. We need a lot of debate here. We don't mind finish this one in the summer. We're not into plugging in players. So here is James. Yeah. Yeah, we're not into just plugging in players there for the sake of it. Here we have
that's great.
What we have, I think, what's his name?
Gusto, yeah.
Gusto. Yeah, Melo Gusto. The two of them. And I agree with who was that said that area picks himself. I think it was from
Someone said
somebody in
that.
the chat there.
Yeah.
What's this, Chilwell and James? Yeah, I think it
Do,
was.
do you think Aspie is sold this summer?
I think he. I don't think he's
No, I
sold.
think he's going to leave.
I think he goes because he's done so much for Chelsea, and I think they'll just allow him to go.
Because
And
now
he understands.
Yeah.
He didn't stay. He didn't stay. Probably decided to stay because of money. He could have joined Barcelona and be starting games, but he just wanted to stay to help the club.
Yeah.
And I think him staying without him, we could have been worse off from a leadership perspective, because he speaks to the players. He speaks in the dressing room. He speaks during the break too. And I think that you could argue that we could have been worse if he didn't stay. Really.
Do you know what? When I think of him, the first thing that comes to mind is leadership. Okay, and when you look at our squad, it lacks leadership. When people compare it to Mourinho, Release 1.0, he had leadership in every position. This is the difference today.
We haven't had that in a while.
Yeah, and this is a young team, so don't get me wrong. So it's a bit unfair to state this, but it's the truth. The thing that scares me is we lack bona fide leadership, true leadership in our squad. That's the only thing that I see that's missing.
We're lacking leadership in the attacking area right now. Leadership
Everywhere.
in the midfield area. Kovacic has stepped up a bit, but we still need more there. In the defensive area, we have more than enough leadership. But
Silva,
midfield,
with the exception of Silva, he's our true leader. You know, when he's playing, I'm talking about when you're on the pitch, with the exception of Aspie.
Leading by example.
Very much so.
He's
but
not the most vocal.
Koulibaly is I think,
he's a good leader too. He leads by
a
example.
natural leader.
Yeah.
That is, it depends on where you deploy him.
Yeah, I think James is going to be our future captain the next year or two.
I think he is, but rightly so. Kudos to whoever decide Kovacic should become our captain. I think he's become a different player since that mantle fell to him. If Enzo is injured, can Gallagher?
No, of course not. No.
But you know what Chelsea always doing? He's trying to justify his point. We understand that.
No, I get it. We're not saying that Gallagher is in the same
bracket.
Yeah, bracket, the same level as Enzo. We're not saying that at all. You're comparing a Ferrari with a Fiat. You know, no disrespect to Gallagher, but he brings different attributes. But you can say the same thing. Can Enzo run as fast as him or jump as high as him?
I think
players. Do you see what I'm saying? So it's unfair to compare them.
And here's the thing again. Like I said, in my opinion, he can do well in the 8th position. I know he's not the most technically gifted, but he can get you goals. And he's trying to learn. And he's a player I see improving very, very, very well.
Did you see him when he played for Palace? He was outstanding.
Yeah, I know. That's why I'm saying he shouldn't be playing deep, because I followed him for a while. Deep area, no, that's not his thing.
But you know what, though? Coach, I kind of agree with Bobby when we had this discussion a few months ago. I can see him being transitioned in that because of his application. Does that make sense?
But we have specialized players in this area.
We can adapt.
There's a space for him now.
We have
to be honest here.
It
wouldn't make sense to have Caicedo, to have Kante, to have Enzo, to have Kovacic, to still have Caicedo.
What's going on with Caicedo?
So to speak. Sorry?
What is going on with Caicedo?
No, Caicedo, sorry.
Caicedo.
He's doing well. He's on loan at Wigan, and he's doing well. I think he scored a goal.
Yeah,
also.
He did.
Yeah.
Does he go out on loan next year?
I'm not sure. It depends on how well he does. We may well look at him and say, we need to keep him.
He's only
20. Let's see how. Yeah. So quickly, let me catch up with the chat. I'll get your final thoughts. We're going to stop here because we need serious analysis for this. And this. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then Nkunku comes into play. So it's not going to be that simple. And like I've explained, we're not into just picking players and plugging them there. We try to be as objective as possible. Yeah, I get your argument. You're trying to justify what you said. And you're right. It makes sense there. What did Roger have for breakfast today? I am again with Roger on Zakaria being our next best.
Weetabix, mate.
You're not my gang member anymore. Kante's current replacement is Ruben Loftus-Cheek. The new DM should take the spot from next season. Wow, some argument right there. Big up, Supreme Court. I hope you're doing well. Letness is greatness. For the Christmas equals the Loftus-Cheek. Nice to see you, Supreme Court. My midfield for next season: Kante, Casado, Paulinho. We're playing with the players we have until anything changes. And you know how we operate in Chelsea perspective. If summer comes and we're looking at certain players and we're certain we're going to get those players, then we'll make adjustments. But right now, if we're going to stick with all the players we know we have, which I don't see us signing too many players in the summer, actually. If anything, it will be in the attacking area. Aspie will be our new motivational coach. He can do that. I think he's capable. Players respect him. Yeah, was going to say that need that leadership attribute from Aspie. Yep, that's probably the one of the main reasons why they kept him. Belgrave Justin said, I said that James and Chiwell. Yeah, exactly. It was your name that I was looking for. So thank you so much. If not, our young players are like lost sheep looking for a shepherd. Yep, that's the truth. Inexperienced coach with a lot of players with 7-8 rating. That's why we don't have a first 11. We still miss the quality of 9-10 rating like Enzo. Football is a simple game. It's not. Football isn't really that simple, except for those that see it on a surplus level. But I get, because you understand it so well, you think it's simple. It's not simple for many people, really, for being honest. All 6 rating with some academy players.
Wow.
All player leaders, again, sit on the bench. People, okay, then they can help Potter in a better way by sitting close. Maybe that makes sense. So, yep, I think with that, because I don't have too much time now. Roger, anything else you want to add to all the things we've talked about today?
Yeah, I wanted to ask one question, and it's about Pulisic. Do you think he stays next year or goes?
It's difficult to say. The whole thing comes down. Here's the thing. I know, again, to me, I think he can be a good rotational player for us. But rotational means if there's 50 games, he plays at least 20 of those, and the other player can play more a little bit. But if it turns out he's going to be seeing less games, being a bench for multiple games, where if you ask him, he thinks he has every right to start, I think he looks to leave. I think he leads the U.S. national team.
Yeah.
They see him, the light cannot switch. They see him as the leader. He's the biggest name there. The pressure is on him to perform. Whenever he doesn't perform, is an issue. He needs to be starting games. If he stays fit, he's capable of being a starter at Chelsea. But his fitness has always been his biggest stumbling block, maybe, for lack of a better term. I think there's the likelihood. I think he may well leave, except if the owner prioritizes the fact that he's more than just a footballer for them. Finds a way to convince Potter to give him more game time, that he's happy to stay, get him to put pen to paper for a long-term contract. That may well happen. It's business for all parties involved. You must have, with age, balance. Yep, balance is key. Experience and youth in a squad depth. If you have 2 players with same age fighting for a place, you will get a mess. That's an excellent argument. You need to mix it up, maybe. But I have to learn about that. Question for Kachila and the panel. Gallagher is a young player who wants to learn. You can only learn by playing. So how is the bench going to help him? I've tried to make that argument before, but Bobby didn't want to listen. I wasn't making that argument saying he's a bad player. I was making that argument that he needs to play more often to develop. Maybe let's not be selfish. Sell him with a buyback clause. If he does well enough, we get him back. But if he's part of the squad, I still take him. Yeah.
But coach, when we say bench, that means he'll come on for 20 to 30 minutes or 10 to 20 minutes.
Would that be good enough for his development?
No. And then, let me finish. And then every 3rd or 4th game, he gets a start. And then, don't forget, unfortunately, we're going to sustain injuries. And then you also have rotation, because there's 4 competitions, hopefully, we're going to be in next year. So not the elite players can play, the top tier players can play in all, shall we say, 55 to 65 games in that year. That's why you need people like a Gallagher, for instance, to actually play a total of, not start, but a total of 20 to 30 games. And that's what will eventually transpire, because that's why if you're going to be a big team, you're going to need depth.
Yeah, we need that. But Roger, would you want, again, I'm not saying he's not a good player. Would you want a depth whereby if anything happens, then what we have will be a makeshift midfield or a makeshift defense or a makeshift attack? You want a situation where it would be like Man City or Real Madrid, even if the starting player again gets injured, will still be a very strong team that people will fear. That's where my point is coming from. And you and I know he's not quite there yet.
No, he's not.
But I know he's capable of getting there.
But then again, with the exception of, let's say, an Enzo, and maybe a Joao, because Joao's a little bit older, he's like 23. But you've got virtually all the young players that are, let's say, 21 and younger. We have a very young team when you look at the new acquisitions, especially. So they're not going to be quite at that. So that's why it's called a quote unquote project, because of that. So they have to be, shall we say, acclimated slowly. We can't just throw them in at the deep end. So you have to look at the long game, not the short game, if that makes sense. You can't buy every player 26 to 29. You know, you have to have depth with age in that rotation.
Yeah, so the argument, it has to be mixed.
Yes. Does that make sense?
Let me catch up with the chat. I'll come get your final thoughts. So let's call it a day. My boy is already waiting for me. Get over plastic pivot. We need more on the midfield. Yep, I agree with you. Greetings, bro. How are you doing? Phil R7, where have you been? I haven't seen you in like 1,000 years. I hope everything is all right with you. Please do let me know. But why are we not giving Noni time? I don't know. I'm not ground, but I don't work with him. Pulisic might just stay for marketing purposes, but you have to get him to sign a new contract for us. He has just about a year left on his contract. If that makes sense, he has to sign a new contract, or they sell him in the summer. Pulisic, the man, the legend, the myth. I hope he stays. That is, he has to put pen to paper. Question for the panel: say Kovacic, Mount, Ruben Loftus-Cheek, all leave. Give me your idea. If Kovacic, all these places quickly, Kovacic leaves, Mount leaves. For Kovacic, I'd get Ismail Banesa can play that the hybrid role of 8 and 6, and I don't think I would. If Kovacic leaves, I'll give Santos a shot first, because I think he looks like he can fulfill that role. Yeah. If Mount leaves, I wouldn't change anything. I think I'll keep Gallagher. Gallagher can fulfill his role. If Zakaria leaves, I wouldn't worry. That's it. That's it for me.
Yeah.
We have Santos, and probably I hope Kone, if we sign him, Kudus is an excellent player. I think he will adapt very well in a box-to-box role. Kudus will cost 100 million.
Really?
So we're most likely not going to get him. Even if Chelsea sign Prime Ronaldo and Messi and Peter still remain, we ain't going anywhere. Some argument right there. Coach Whitey Pulisic got dropped as U.S. captain. He has brought a lot of revenue to the Chelsea shirts. Yeah, but he's not been in the greatest of form for the national team. So probably the leadership man, they decided to try someone else whose feet are always available. Gallagher played well at Crystal Palace. I think he should have just stayed there. Okay, good argument. Roger is this year's poster boy for unsolicited opinions. That hurts. Did you solicit opinion for any of us? But Badiashile was initially going to play for the France under-21 squad. That's my brother, my bro, Eddie Love for Blue. Squad during the international break. He replaced Wesley Fofana in the senior team. So thank you for correcting that. Yep, but Bobby thought he was going to be just for he was going to stay with the under-21, and he's good enough. Hello, coach, and the rest of the panel. Big up to you, Aurora. I hope you're doing well. I'm cool, bro. It's been a while. Yep, but more importantly, I hope you're good. Again, we need to pray for boys coming to play Champions League against Real Madrid. Oh, well, that's the list of my concerns. We have a good enough team. If the manager selects the right players and pay attention to the games Madrid play before us, I think he will have a good understanding and use that as a foundation for the preparation. It is Ajax. So, sorry?
Did anyone watch the El Clasico?
I haven't. I have to watch the replay. I haven't watched it, but
Yeah,
I
I
lots of
haven't watched
drama.
it
I think
either.
I was on the road traveling. I traveled to Arizona on the day.
I've
It's
recorded it.
Ajax. It's Ajax. So could this will cost a lot of money? Yep, I think so too. My take: get all ins and outs early enough. Also include new manager. No one has permanent shirts. Even everyone fight for their shirt. Even the manager himself. Erroro, I need you to be coming on the panel, but it looks like you don't have a good understanding as to how that works. I'll find out time and train you because I need you on the panel, brother. Much love to you. Rogers Law Firm taking shape.
Man,
Yep. So Roger, your final thoughts on the players we've picked so far. I don't know. I want the continuity of this. I want Roger and DJ to be involved. So maybe even if we have an evening show, we're not
Sure.
going to do this lineup. I'll probably leave it for the Blue Morning show tomorrow. So, even if we do an evening show, it will be for other topics. But Roger, your final thoughts, and I hope you agree that we need to really analyze this area with the remaining areas before we pick any players. Your thoughts, your final thoughts.
I agree with every selection there, everyone without exception. I think they pretty much picked themselves for the most part. As I said, Koulibaly probably a little bit more than Silva starting because of the age. But this is an area of concern, is the middle of the field with Enzo and Kanté. Who is the quality in depth? This is what could be the deciding factor that will separate a successful season from a not so successful season, shall we say. Does that make sense? So, I don't know.
Yeah. Okay, DJ, how about you? Your thoughts on what we've done so far?
Yeah, everything on there. I mean, I think my two concerns obviously would be that midfield. Obviously, who comes in for the two midfielders? I think the other one for me has got to be a goalkeeper because I'm not saying Kepa needs to be rotated in some games. How you were going to say that? If Kepa does need to be rotated, what goalkeeper comes in place of him? Because if we're looking at possibly Mendy leaving. Then the only really then the two goalkeepers that are left are Slanina, and then you've got the other goalkeeper who only had one game at Chelsea, and I forgot his name.
Bettinelli.
Yeah. He I don't know about him. I don't think he's up to the task if Kepa was to be dropped from or to be left out or given
not even close, mate.
Nah. So for me, that's my other concern because let's be honest, mate. Goalkeepers can get injured as well, and if Kepa was to get an injury and Mendy was to go and Benelli, then Slanina is the only one that can come in there. But is he old? Is he got the at the right age to bring into this team right now? Has he got an experienced head on his shoulders to say DJ, yes, we can go with him?
So DJ, listen, goalkeepers of 10, 20 years ago, they would never be considered to start under the age of 25 or so unless they were.
Yes.
Now you get people look at the Italian keeper for PSG. What's his name?
Yeah, he started at a very young age, didn't he?
Yeah. So this is the trend now. Thank you. Now that the new modern ethos is you're good enough to play, regardless of your age now for the keeper, which that was never the mindset 10, 20 years and older, before that. So if Slanina is good enough, regardless of his age, if he has the physical requirements, obviously the reflexes, is he good with his feet distribution, etc. If he's good enough, then he can step in.
Yeah, right. I mean, that's fine.
Thank you. Cool. Thank you so much, guys. I can't thank you enough. Roger and my bro, DJ, all my people there. Look at their Twitter handles. Please go follow them at Roger Pop, DJ Saab, and you'll find them. Make sure to follow them. They don't earn anything from this, and I don't, they're free. I don't know how to explain that, but much love. They just love the club and love to talk about the club. Much love to them. I can't be reading too much right now. What will happen to Kai? Kai stays, even though if Nkunku comes to someone, or even if both come, he keeps his place. I think he stays. Sacrifice Lamb Roja. Somebody said, not gonna lie, I'd rather sacrifice Bobby for that cost. Okay. All right, thanks, guys. Thank you to you too, Rahayu, and good to see Eugene back in the chat. Yep, Eugene behaved himself today. Maybe he needed that to behave himself. That picture You've painted shows the massive hole in our midfield. That's that part. We cannot count on Potter to buy a DM. I don't think he will, but let's see what happens. I think Connor is leaving. Possibly we can sacrifice Roger for a competing DM. Okay, competent DM, so to speak. For the lineup, Kudus is ideally, but experience probably. Yep. We have Slonina. He should be good enough backup, given you got. And he gets enough game time next year because we have 2 cup games to play. Hopefully we get the Champions League too. The El Clasico was tense though, but Real is different when it comes to the Champions League. Some argument right there. I am hearing too much of Gallagher. That boy is not bad. He will get better with time. Also, I have a feeling that the coach is leaving a lot on the table by ignoring Zakaria. You could argue that. So, take care, everyone. Take care, you too. Constantine Dante, bye-bye. Thank you so much. Much love. Chelsea isn't a development club. If they need to grow, a lot will suffice. Will be sacrificed. A loan will suffice, so to speak. Kova and Kai goes versus Everton, nominated for goal of the season. Wow.
For the month.
Of the month, so to speak. That's in my mind somewhere else right now. Kova's goal wasn't easy. Kai's goal, the chip was just, it was so nice. It was just so nice. So delicious. So thank you guys. If you're watching, thank you to Nevada, my bro. Thank you to Panda. Thank you to Constantine Dante, Supreme Course, Victor Angayere, Suleiman, Jaita, everyone is Eugene, Naughty. I know that's you. So I'm going to call your number. Thank you for being calm today and not being abusive. Thank you to Bobby Fairview, to everyone that's in the chat. Thank you to Belgrave. If I did not mention your name, Chelsea all the way, Roller Ogba, and the beautiful game who was here today. R7, if I missed your name, apologies. I'm only human. See you guys next time. God bless us all, and bye.
Cheers,
Up the Chelsea. Peace, everyone. Bye.